structure will get me to the same mathematical answer, no matter what. It's not based on previous cultures or previous works of math. But I want to elaborate and take it one more step and say that we take our math to explain to us the workings of the universe. That's how we explain it, through math. And the problem is that this gentleman is saying that his math is saying the same things that we're saying, but it's also
you're confusing math with numbers. You're confusing math with numbers. Yes, you can use numbers, but you guys are applying this sort of like religion to numbers, not actual math.
Hold on, you're trying to argue something instead of just dealing with the facts. The facts is that we in our world, the European Western society, we use mathematics in order to explain our universe, in order to decipher our universe. That's what we use to do that, right? Now, that's a fact. Now, this gentleman has another mathematical system, right? And his mathematical system he uses also to decipher our universe, our world around us. And what he's saying is that, yes, science is correct in their mathematics. However, there are things that the mathematics of science does not, will not, refuses to, or is incapable of addressing, right? And we know that the science of math does not, will not, refuses to, or is incapable of dealing with certain aspects.
No, I mean, he's trying to take mathematics and give it an agenda.
Stop saying what he's trying to do. Let's just talk about
he's like an alchemist trying to he's trying to create gold.
A person that wants to create an argument where you don't have one. Stop predicting. Stop trying to get to the argument, and let's just understand. Once you understand, because you're trying to argue while you're trying to understand at the same time. That's why you're wrong a lot. You don't have to do that. You can understand.
No, the problem is I understand. I'm just describing your misunderstanding is what I'm trying to do. You don't realize that I'm describing your misunderstanding. You think I'm trying to create an argument.
Describe a misunderstanding while I'm explaining.
Because you're misunderstanding what he's saying.
I'm going to help you out and teach you how to learn. It starts with muting. That's the first way to learn, right? After that, you listen. Then you process. Then you respond. That is how you learn. That's the way to do it. Okay? So, this gentleman has a methodology of mathematics that comes up with the same results as our mathematics does. And he uses it in the same way that we use our mathematics. The only issue is that his mathematics addresses things that our mathematics don't address. So for you to now say that those things are agenda or anything like that, it's not. It's simply an explanation of things that are available in our nature that his mathematics has the capability of addressing where our mathematics does not. Simply that.
Mr. Tacpans, were you trying to point out the word maths a minute ago?
Yeah, the A and M. See, I don't. This is a game. Let's strip this down. This is a game. 20 years ago, in May, I had a vision in the sky. I saw the lady from Columbia Pictures wearing a white and blue robe. For me, it looked like the mother of Jesus. I ducked down in the corner and I was whisked away. I thought I called my mother and told her that I had one of these. Does anybody know what this is called? The singular one? 2 of them are called dice. 1 of them is called a die. That's what I told my mother was happening to me that night.
Oh, you thought you were unaliving?
Yeah. And all I talked about, I have the notes, what I talked about when they brought me into the big...
1 of them is called a dice. 2 of them is called a die. 2 of them is called a die.
All right, so let's, I don't know.
Jimmy, did you just say 2 is a die?
Yeah, that's what he just said. I don't know what's going on there.
I'm joking.
Yeah, no, you weren't. No, you weren't. It's okay. It's fine. We can all learn here. There's no problem. What I would say for all the people listening, because you're going to throw some people off. I'm not religious. I'm not into spiritual stories and all that, but I hear the nuance in what he's doing. He's telling his spiritual story, but he's telling it, and there's going to be an understanding that what he thought was so spiritual was not so spiritual. I believe that's where we're going, yeah?
What is spiritual, not so spiritual?
Yeah, what you thought was like.
But you see the religious conflation though. You see the religious conflation though, right?
Yeah. I do see it. But what he's saying is what he thought was traditionally more of a spiritual thing was able to be expressed in a numerical way. I believe that's where we're going. Like there was an actual empirical way of expressing these non-empirical feelings.
Imagine this. You enter into a room.
No, don't do that, brother. We're not doing. I'm trying to give you credibility amongst these dudes who think.
Oh no, this is going to work for them. This is very good what I'm saying. I'm telling you.
No. Listen, brother. Listen. You got to know who you're talking to. You got to know your audience, okay? We are not your group of people who will sit in your world and understand this thing over a peace pipe, right? We are a group of people who don't believe any of the things that people who sit in groups around a peace pipe talk about, right? So you cannot talk to us like that.
Okay, can I tell you why I said it?
Okay, go ahead.
In order for everybody to understand whatever I'm saying, I have to go into underneath what they call the microscope, and you have to put me under judgment for everything I speak.
Okay, but we don't need to judge you for everything that's in your methodology, because we're not going to learn that today. We want to judge you for the things that you say about our methodology.
Right. That's what I'm saying. So I want to just show you these dice cubes. You asked me before something about these dice cubes, right? But I can't get into that. Let's finish with what we started with. Back to the original. Can we finish this, please? Can we just finish this? Because this is going to be fun. So now number 13, right? Number 13 divided by 1 or 10 or 19. Stop at any time and divide it by 13 whenever I say it. Okay, number 1, okay? Number 10, number 19.
We trust the math on this thing. Go ahead.
Okay, 19 divided by 13.
Mm-hmm.
4615. 4615.
Mm-hmm.
So everything you do by 13, okay, over here, when you divide 999,999 by 7, this is all to do with the 7 days of the week, let's say, or anything to do with 7, right? This one over here has everything to do with 13. Let's call it the 13 moons if you want, right? I'm just keeping the stories very small. No matter what you do, this number over here, 76, will be twice in here, 3 times in here, 4 times in here, all the way you get up. So this number is divisible in every single one.
What are 13 moons?
The 13 moons, 364 days.
Why do you get 13 moons to 364 days? How do they correlate?
13 by 28, 364.
Okay, so there are 13 months in a year?
There's 13 moons in a year, yes. But a man's year. In a female year, there's only 12 moons.
So I disagree with that. I believe in a female's year, there are 13 moons as well.
Yes, but we're the 13th one.
So what happens is a female, now we're going to get into some deep stuff for those people out of here. What happens is a female's anatomy.
I like it.
What happens in the female's anatomy is every month they have a menstruation. We as silly men believe that menstruation happens every 30, 31 days, but really it happens every 28 days. Every 28 days is their menstruation. This is why females calculate their gestation in weeks and not months, and this is why doctors also do the same thing with their gestation and their babies. They do it in weeks and not months, because our understanding of months is incorrect, and that's why the gestation of a baby is 10 months, not 9 months. So this is all the issue with the number 13. I brought this up before. we in our society have a real issue with the number 13, and we've created all of these misnomers and misjudgments of mathematics because of our fear of this number, or our reason for staying away from this number. I don't know what the reason is, but this number 13 has created.
Well, the gestation of a baby is actually 3 years or 2 years, depending on when they have the ability to walk.
I'm talking about from the womb to birth. Yeah, I'm not talking about.
No, the gestation period, for example, the gestation period of a whale, as soon as it's born, it can start swimming. A colt, as it's born, it can start walking. A baby cannot start.
Sir, I'm trying not to distract you. Having a pro-life conversation. I agree with you. A baby's life is from the beginning all the way up until the end. I got you. That's the conversation that we're having right now is from the time of conception to birth is a 10-month period. We agree? Everybody agrees?
Yeah, but that's not the gestation period of a baby.
I got you. You want to have a conversation about how much you know about babies. That's great.
Can I give you a funny answer?
Yeah.
Because of the law of averages, in a utopian world, yes, 280, but the reality is things don't end on a deadline. They end just prior. So I would say on the 278th or 277th day would be 39 weeks, and then the last week would be the middle of the week. And in Spanish they call it miracle or miracalis for Wednesday. And the Wednesday, I mean, because everything, it's not only numbers, but it's what the numbers say, where they're located, how I can explain them. Even the number 7 on these cubes, there's so much expression. And I want to take the time to show you so you can understand the depth of it. I still want to finish with this, but I'm agreeing with you, yes.
It's not miracalis, it's a miércoles.
Right, but for me who misunderstands and my algorithm of my story that fits in.
You gotta understand. No, listen, Tax, you gotta understand this gentleman. He likes to measure his sword with distinctions that have no point.
So no, but let me explain it in a numbers depth. It's 313 equaling to 7, meaning Wednesday is the connecting day between the first 3 days and the last 3 days, showing you what your heartbeat is between the 7 days.
And that's because there's 3 days either side of Wednesday in the 7-day week. Yeah.
Correct. And now if you multiply 7 times 7 times 7, it becomes 343, in which expresses itself. The 3 days before the 4th day and the 3 days after the 4th day is what is 7 times 7 times 7. It's just impossible. This house is built, I'm telling you.
Those days are not precise, so that's why you have a leap year.
No, they're precise. They change form as it moves on, like in gambling. I don't gamble. I start in the utopian era, and then I throw everything into the air and mix everything up, and now I say, okay, be born. Like throwing all the seeds all over the world and be born. You know what I'm saying?
I would like to point out, Jimmy, that in a way you're right, but really you're wrong, right? The ego of humans allows us to believe that the universe is imperfect, even though we're trying to create a math that would match the universe, and once we do, we would call that math perfect. If the math would be perfect once we match the universe, then the universe is already that which we're trying to match, which is perfect. You understand? So the universe does operate perfectly. Our usage and
our attempt to seek perfection is mute because we try to apply certain things to that math that is yet to be perfected. And so why are we saying that it is precise? We're not precise, not just yet.
Well, so what I'm saying is, right, the earth does what it does perfectly. We say it's not perfect because we can't divide it perfectly. Right? And just go with our days.
Like taking away agriculture and turning it into lab-grown food and robots and stuff like that. Yeah,
right. That's why we say it's imperfect. That's the reason why it's not perfect. It's not perfect because it's doing something wrong. It's doing exactly what it's supposed to be doing. Perfectly. Right? So that's the understanding. So his math accounts for that perfection, while science's math in most cases leaves leaves a lot of room for error.
It's not only that, it's his historical view on things. Like he doesn't know exactly when the calendar started. He doesn't know if this is really Wednesday. He doesn't know if it's miércoles. He doesn't know if it's actually the middle of the week. He doesn't know when the timekeepers started keeping time. He doesn't know if it's the second day of the week that's actually Sunday, or the third day of the week that's actually Sunday. He doesn't know. There's no way that he would know. It's impossible for him to know.
Well, isn't the moon's a lot to do with stuff?
He doesn't calculate. I'm sorry for speaking for you, Tat. I'm sorry for speaking for you, Mr. Tax, but I believe that the way you explain things is a little bit rough for these guys, and they'll jump down your throat as soon as you say something that sounds crazy. So I'm going to explain it. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But from what I understand from what he's doing being up here within a short amount of time, is that he doesn't attempt to explain the things that he can't possibly know. I've asked him to go down to the Big Bang with me, and he wouldn't do it, right? And the reason why is because, like you said, he can't possibly know. He uses his methodology to explain evidence just like science does. What is here, what is now, what is in front of us. Like, you see, when he does that, that means nothing to us, Mrs. Hack. I appreciate you. It means nothing to us. But he uses his methodology, right, to explain the evidence of what is here already, the same way science does. Science takes it a step further and tries to explain what we don't know. He does not do that. He just takes the math, what is there, and then he translates it into his mathematical explanations. He translates it into his language. He doesn't change anything. He doesn't add anything. He just translates and interprets. That's it.
That's fine. That's fine. But he's
not even really
building
making
upon
any claims.
assumptions. His math is building upon assumptions.
Like what? What assumption?
The assumption that he knows the middle of the week. It's an assumption that he knows it.
No, I don't think anybody's talking about the middle.
So in other words, so he says this, like the way that we guide ourselves is based upon the middle of the week is what he's saying.
Right. Yeah.
So it's like saying we know when a woman gets her period. Now there you can say so you can decide right then and there when she gets her period, and then it's every 28 days, and it's not 12 months. It's so many months within a year.
Ask you a question. If we make our schedule, let's say we start on Sunday, and it's your argument that Sunday might not be Sunday, right? Does that change the fact that we start our day on Sunday? Like
no, of course not. No, but I'm saying whenever you're talking about human reaction, human involvement, like the way that humans respond to a day of the week, and you say, humans do this on a certain day of the week, and it's because of the day of the week that we do this, then you can start asking questions like, how do you know that that's the reason that it's that day of the week?
Right, I get that. But again,
I spend a lot of my life, right, has been outside. I deal more with nature and land. So I haven't really watched many films. I haven't watched many movies, things like that. Most of what I've learned is from outside, watching the birds, feeling them, like knowing those buzzing sounds, and when the plants come up, what happens in those conditions and in those conditions. I don't need to know a day of the week, and I don't really need to know the time. Do you know what I mean? Because time to me doesn't exist in that nature. Do you know what I mean? Not like it does if I need to know that I've got a meeting on Wednesday at 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
But this system, if you know what I mean. We live in a system, in a system, in a system.
Mm-hmm. No. So I agree with
you. Of course. It's the same thing. It's the same thing with the groundhog. If the groundhog sees his shadow, it's what? The groundhog sees his shadow, it's how many more weeks of winter is it? Or how many less weeks of winter is it? It's like that. It's like you cannot specify when spring starts. You cannot specify exactly when fall starts. You cannot specify exactly when summer starts. Now, you can say spring is
it's because you know what? It's just like me when I think. I just know you always fall into your thoughts. Otherwise, I wouldn't stop at this page. So I mean, now that I'm on this page, there's been many things that have been mentioned. Um, so you know a dollar. You know what a dollar is? It's 1 cent more than 99. Just to let you know, it brings you up another level. But anyways, that's the groundhog that's lying like unalive on top of Mr. Burger. And the little man up there, right? All the buzzing bees around the sun and the ejection fighting out through the moon, all the emanating rays running through the moon here. This is my bedroom, right? And then everybody's sore running around.
Can I just say something? You have an awesome artwork across the entirety of your house. It's pretty awesome.
Oh yeah, this is the bedroom. So that's the wall behind me. I got that idea from the hamburgers.
That is unbelievable. Did you do that yourself, or who did that?
Yeah, I did that. I did that.
That is just incredible. That is crazy. I mean, that's I hate to say the word crazy, but it's in a good way. It's awesome. That is awesome, man. That is super super awesome.
8 and 9. So behind me, in 2001, something happened, and two communication centers were dismantled where the apples were. Right? You always know they're always testing new apple trees, and does everybody know that? There are tons and tons. What's that?
You can't use this terminology. Terminology that is already employed.
Oh, okay. Okay, so
Terminology that they accept.
okay, so um,
Some of it's got to be two-toned a little bit, though.
I'm just trying to say, well, this I'm going to show you that this design where it comes from.
Yeah, he's definitely cutting some of it, man, for sure. He's definitely putting the innuendo in there. That's what I'm telling you.
Okay, so these two here are communication centers. That's why I said it. Okay, and when I remove the ham radio centers, right? You know what ham radio is? You need a citizen band radio to get one, right? Citizen band versus ham radio. Everybody knows where the hams.
Yes, we know the ham
Okay,
radio.
so anyways, here's the hat. These two were interference between each other, communication in the secondary house. You remember I said there were two houses? Here they are. Now they took these two down. They made a central communication between the two houses. Now we have an operator joining the two houses in Hebrew. Okay, I'm assuming now, going up on the limb, adding to my understanding the theory. I'm just throwing in there on the bookshelf, right? The the Aleph joining the house of Bet, the house of Bet. Yeah, house of Bet, house of Bet. You know that in Hebrew it's the first letter is Aleph, the second letter is Bet. But it also has another name.
Have you seen in the word alphabet?
Yeah.
Right, but it's not also alphabet. The Spanish say vet, the letter V in place of the letter B in very many occasions. So
Pronunciation, but yeah.
yes, so I also use relationships, what they have given to us that has no mathematical equations. There's no, for some of my work, there is no real math at the beginning, but it's a leader. The word itself is a leader. And here's one of my examples as being a leader word. Is like, I know I can't talk certain languages, but I'm going to use a language that I know a few words, Spanish. Now, to understand the language itself, I'm going to do a numerology on the word and see what happens. So I tear the word apart letter by letter. And I put it in what I know how to do, and I see what comes out. Then I take the word and I redo it in French, and then I'll redo it in English. To understand the 360, I need to understand the minimum 360 or 3 points for everything in order to classify it.
Okay, I found the flaw in your method. The flaw in your method is that the languages that exist in humanity are not the languages that all exist. The languages that currently exist in humanity aren't all of the languages that exist. All the languages that will ever exist. So now then claim truth based on using these languages to derive your answers mathematically. It seems like the initial source is faulty, and therefore anything you build on it probably will be faulty as well.
And not only that, so he's using a 10 digit. True mathematics is built upon 16 digits.
You know, it's funny because when I associate equally an area of 12, let's say the 12 zodiac signs, right? When I want to join them all together without using points and just use whole numbers, sorry, there is one point I can use, the heart point, which is whatever. Anyways, to make a long story short, I just mixed myself up.
We were talking about 16 digits.
Yes, so when I connected the 12 zodiac signs, I needed 16 digits in order to do it. In order to have an area space of movement in the house of the teacher, you need 16 area spaces. You cannot have the first space and the last space at the same time. You have to have space 1 to space 16 and space 2 to space 17.
Yeah, I don't truly understand too much of that. But can you address the fact that I feel like there's a flaw in the way you're choosing your inputs for your mathematical equation? The fact that you're choosing words from, you're translating through languages and the languages are limited.
Oh, that's okay, as long as I can balance them off in their area. We could see one little thing that they're showing me, as long as I can get a 360 out of it. It's like, let me show you one little teeny weeny thing, because I only really like to work on concrete stuff. If I have to try and show you something and it seems like I'm wiggling out, I'd rather leave it for another date.
Okay, all right, no problem. I don't want to be in your gray area speculations anyway. So we're good with that.
Yeah. Well, because I don't mind. It's just that the time it might put in, we might lose half the people here.
Right, I'm there.
Okay, so let's finish with this to number one. And number one, I have 15,000 videos out there. I've got over 1,000 stories on my YouTube channel, and I've been sharing everything because I'll tell you one thing: for whatever I do, there ain't no patent. This is completely a game of everything that is fair to every person on this planet. Every person can have a set of dice cubes. Every person can sort of have one of these. Whoever has a computer, I think, can find one of these on it. So all these things that I study, everybody can study themselves, along with me.
Let me simplify it a little bit for the people. Just so you understand, he gets his methodology from what seems to be the Vegas games, the gambling games that we use in our societies. Something about the gambling mechanics and mathematics of probability aligns with universal mathematics that allows for our Western math and his cultural math to align and calculate equivalent. Something about it. So then he takes that to become his way of understanding life, as we take science to be our way of understanding.
I think on that on catwalk, man. You know.
Exactly. I got you, but I'm just elaborating to let people know why he's up here, because, like I said, his stuff is really difficult.
Yeah, we've all seen people try to take on Vegas and fail. If there was a person that could take on Vegas, then he would be the richest person in the world.
Yeah, I don't think he's not using this to gamble, even though I think, just like you just said, I think that he's wasting a great talent. Because if you're breaking down this math to try to understand the sun and the moon, that's a waste of time, brother. You should be really sitting down with some Vegas gamblers and showing them your floor and saying, this is what I got out of the roulette table. This is the probability system. And this is what it could mean for you or for us if we work it out together. Because for someone to really analyze a roulette table or playing cards to the depth and the level that you're doing it without even thinking about applying it in the same ways that we do is I think, very useful to people that do these things. Science is useful to gamblers, is useful to a lot of people. So more you, I don't know what your financial situation is, but you damn sure should be at Vegas station trying to figure something out. Does anybody have any questions for this gentleman?
Is he showing the roulette diagram?
Right. Yeah. It corresponds with the artwork on this floor. Have you shown any of them? Have you guys seen his floor? Have any of you guys seen his floor? Have y'all seen his floor?
I've seen his ceiling and I've seen his walls. I haven't seen his floor.
Hey, show the floor and show the roulette table. The full roulette table with the chips with everything on it. It's really hard, guys. You're gonna have to really, you know what I mean? Like, really try to grasp what's happening here.
I've got to go. I don't know yet longer than what I should have been.
Yeah, right? And have you tried brain cells completely yet?
Yeah, I've promised them. I've never met anyone. I mean, I've known him for 6 months plus now, maybe time's flying. And I still to this day don't know anybody that can do things and break it down the way that Mr. Tacpans can. But it's very privileged to witness it, to experience it. To be fair. Yeah. Thank you for the space, man, holding it. It's much appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Tacpans. I'll see you soon, man.
We'll see, Garrett.
Take care.
All right. So can you show roulette table that actually casinos use, and alongside your floor model that represents that?
Yes, so, maybe everybody should take a snapshot and send it down to the casinos and ask them if they want to own a part of the pie. You asked me what my income is. Okay, that was that is, first of all, I would love to have an income, but my end goal is that somehow, somewhere, we can all connect to understand that we live in a place that's been pre-created. Certain books, and I'm not going to get into that right now, have direct links. Every single word, even the word energy and like Jesus Christ, right? How it fits into this thing. The letter J that only.
We're way too ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So what was the question?
The roulette table is what we all understand.
Okay. So here's the.
You just show the roulette table, the actual roulette table that actually exists. Cross-reference to what you got, so that we can see that you're not just getting these numbers and all this stuff from the air. Because I know you're not.
Orphan roulette.
Okay, so what it is a roulette table has numbers on it. It has on the side of the roulette table, the reds and blacks are lined up next to each other. And what he's done is, you see these shapes and figures, is that he's just drawn lines from the red and the black numbers. Each line at each point is one of those numbers on this graph, on this table.
159,357, 159,357, 12, 12. 14 is over here, 1 and 4 is 5.
Can you show the vertical lines in the middle, that yellow vertical line?
Which one?
Go zoom in more. Go closer. All right. So you have 2 diamonds, 2 yellow diamonds, and there's a yellow vertical line between it. Yes, that right there, the vertical line up.
Okay, here is the, okay, as everybody knows, inside a circle is 360 degrees. There's 36 numbers here. I'm going to use that as 360, because if every number was a whole number.
No, you're going too far.
Okay.
What I mean is, can you show us that vertical line on the roulette table?
Oh, the vertical line on the roulette table is here, where these chips are, 17 and 20.
Okay, so the point that I'm trying to make for these guys is that every number that you're saying attributes to a place where these lines conjoin at. Is that correct?
Correct.
All right, so I just want you to know that the numbers that he's grabbing, although we don't know the chart, we don't know the roulette table, he has it memorized. And he has it memorized, so when he says these numbers, they're from this chart. So I just like you to take for granted that when he grabs these numbers that they're full, his interpretation of the numbers you can debate with him. But when he grabs the numbers to do the calculations, where he's grabbing the numbers from is from an actual place that he did not create. He did not make this up, and this is not somebody else's spiritual belief. This is simply the roulette table drawn out, like he said, a game. And he just kind of looked at patterns and saw patterns. Right?
Right.
Okay. So continue, and you can talk your methodology, and they can debate you about what you're saying about how you interpret these things.
Okay, so inside of here, you can see this area over here and this area over here. First, let's understand what we're looking at. Okay, this area here and this area here, the same. This area here.
On the roulette table, please, that area.
Okay, so that area is here. 8, 11, 10, 13 is the same as 26, 29, 28, 31. 2 and 8, 10. 3 and...
Are you looking at the black?
Yes, the black.
Okay, so yes, I do see the same pattern there.
3 and 1 equals... Sorry?
I just want to slow you down just so everybody can keep up with what I'm
Okay.
moving a little bit closer. We're looking at the black numbers. We can't see exactly the numbers. Maybe you can. Your eyesight might be better than mine. But for sure, I see the pattern that he's drawn on his floor. The same pattern at the bottom, that is the same pattern at the top. 2 black diamonds plus those little additions on the side. Gotcha.
Can I ask you a quick question? What is he representing and towards what end? I guess that's a big question. And how does it tie into, is it tied into religion or is it tied into science? Or using a combination of both? Boy, that's a huge question. Sorry.
Basically what's happening is, he, like science takes evidence. So science takes the evidence we have, and then it takes mathematics to kind of explain it, predict it, and that kind of thing. What he does is the same exact thing. The only difference is science has a limit to where it cannot, will not, or does not address, right? Like science will not address our love for each other, right? There's certain things that science doesn't have the capability or will not address, even though we know that these things are real. Okay. His mathematics system has the capability to address those things. So, is it science or religion? It falls somewhere in between. But he doesn't have a belief system. It's just an explanation of what you give him. So if I were to read the Bible to him, he would give me this mathematical translation. If I were to read the Quran to him, he would give me this mathematical translation. If I were to read science text to him, he would again grab these words and start translating each letter, each word into this mathematical format.
That's not true. That's not true because you can apply any kind. You can start at 1,001 and you can go to 33. 1,033. That graph that they're showing you, it will still correspond. It has nothing to do with the numbers. It has to do with the color and the way that they're colored. It has nothing to do with the numbers. So you're being presented a facade, and you're.
I don't think you understand what's happening here. This man is not trying to explain or lead or guide us anywhere. He just has a different way of analyzing the same thing.
That's totally fine. That's totally fine. But as long as you understand that it's not the numbers.
When he comes to his conclusion, it is the same conclusion that we come to.
That is totally fine. That is totally fine. As long as you understand that it's not the numbers.
I can't tell him what it's not when he's the one who's telling us and he's the one who's knowing.
I'm just saying, like, it's not his design.
He has a black and white graph there as well. Is it the colors on that one too?
No. I'm talking. So you think that his floor has to do with colors?
No, the colors are just distinguishable. It's artistic. It lets you see the difference between one line from another. That's
okay. So there is
Who, me?
I can get a little way on this if you want.
The question is, should it mean something? Should the colors mean something?
I haven't heard him say that the color means anything. He hasn't listed or named a color to mean anything. So I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, to assign a number to a color doesn't mean anything without any background reasoning. You know, like, see, I'm trying to find out, is he talking about the universe or is he talking about the way we feel around Christmas?
What you have to do is you have to stop trying to have a pre-written argument with the person is opposed.
It's not pre-written. It's not pre-written at all. Yeah.
And at the same time, you said red and black. You said red and black on the roulette table.
1 second, one person at a time.
Is there any way that he can reply?
Yeah, he can reply, but I know how his replies work, and what'll happen is that'll be somewhere where nobody understands, and everybody will drop him in time. Right? Well, what I do let him do is correct me if I'm wrong about what he understands, right? Because I speak in a way that more people in the normal world will understand what he Mr. I can't read your name. My eyesight is really bad.
Marcipans.
Mr. Tacpans.
I'm SpongeBob.
I don't want to be offensive in any way because this is your idea that you worked on. So I want to know if I'm being honest about you and if I'm expressing it the way you understand.
Could I ask him a question when you're done?
Ask him. He'll show you. He'll explain why I'm doing so.
Cool. Mr. Tacpans, now are you dealing with how the universe works or how people feel about the way it works?
None of the two.
No, okay. So okay.
Actually, sorry, I think I answered you too quick. I'm just going over. I go over. First of all, I learned this out of just out of my thoughts, like out of nowhere, just started happening. But anyways. So what this is right now at this point where I have arrived at is just sharing what the math does and just using reference. Hey, look how it matches up. Look where it matches. It matches here. It matches here. Does it mean anything? Well, if I brought an astrologist in here or somebody in here that's in electricity that studies this, that, or the other thing and look at what they do, I can say, oh, this matches up here. Does it mean anything to you? And they might say yes or they'll say no. Most often or not, they're saying yes.
Yeah, so that's the understanding of what he's doing. He's not giving you any meaning. He's just translating it into his world, and then it's for you to take the information as what it is.
This is about us. This is about us. This is for me. Now that I understand what I see, the algorithm, what everybody is talking about on TikTok right now, the spirit, the soul, the arguments, and all these arguments come down to the base, even though I see exactly, even when we have alternative, not even discussions anymore, there's like, anyways, I don't even want to talk about what's going on this where 75% of this is fake. You know what I'm saying? 75% of whatever, but that's my judgment. So let me bring it back to the beginning. I see the system, okay? And I know that our collective will shut it down. Every time you purify a little bit of water, you purify it for the good, not of just one of you, okay? Because we're multitudes of who we are. When I showed you that division of 7 and 13, every single one of these numbers adds to 27 because we are the mutable base creation of 369. We are the non-stop, ever-ready battery of communication to the alternate network. Just know that, what these numbers say. These numbers connect to everything. This is
why I speak for him. For everybody that's listening to hear him speak, please disregard the language that sounds dogmatic. Please disregard the language that sounds trippy or anything. Translate it to the English that you understand. He's being very much.
There's nothing wrong with believing in Fermi's principle. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, I get you, but the word, the terminology that he uses, it gets people in the edge of their seat ready to bite him, right? And I just want I want people to get this before they bite him.
So
go ahead.
check this out. If you add up the 11th and the 1st, it'll equal to 999,999. If you connect the second with the number 10 over here, it'll equal to 999,900. Sorry, did I do that right? Hold on a second, I gotta take a look. Hope I'm missing a number, hold on.
While you do that, Mr. Tacpans, now look, I mean, there's plenty of number things that go on. For instance, you can use nines, and if you take nines, you can take any number you want other than zeros and ones and the odd ones, and you can line them up, reverse them, subtract, either way, and it's always divisible by 9. You've probably already found that out, correct?
Yeah, continue.
No, I'm just saying, so there's plenty of odd number.
Yeah, that chart is not, in other words, that chart that you're depicting, the chart you're depicting is not special. You can do that with any numbers. You can do that with rational numbers. You can do that with infinite numbers. You can do that with irrational numbers. So the chart that he's depicting is not a special chart. Right. It's just a chart. Right.
I mean, there's books of this, by the way.
Here's the thing about the chart that he's presenting, right? The chart that he's presenting allows him to do calculations of math that are superior to what we can do mentally, and he can do them faster than what we can do.
No, that's not true. That's not how it works. The chart is just a chart. It's just a regular chart that anybody can make up. Anybody can make it up.
I had this conversation already. Everybody can make it up. You can. First. Secondly, the chart was created outside of our education system. It was created completely outside of our education system.
That is not true. That is not true. It's not outside of our education.
Has no relation or correlation with Western education.
So, can you use your fingers to multiply 9s? Just your fingers. That is a chart right there. That is a simple chart. That's a very simple chart that you can use.
I know. You have to be able to understand what someone is saying to you, not just what you want to say. You cannot just listen. You cannot just hear somebody speak so you can say what you wanted to say in the first place. What you said had nothing to do with what I said. It was just a continuation of what you were saying in the first place. Okay? What I said to you was, this system is completely outside of Western learning. Okay? It has no correlation. It gets no influence from Western learning. It's a completely separate thing. But it is able to calculate faster than a calculator all of the decimal points up to 6 decimal points under 0. Okay? So you just throw it out and say anybody can do that. That is just not true. I'm sorry.
No, and Dollar, you're right. I mean, not anybody can do it.
You're right.
Nor does anybody spend half a lifetime or a quarter of a lifetime going through this stuff. Okay,
yeah,
but there are. Whoa, stop, Dollar, please. Let me finish.
And so you didn't create this thing.
No, I get it, and I'm not trying to put it down. I'm just trying to explain a little bit so it makes sense. Okay, so at the same time, there are plenty of books and methods that do deeper dives than education does, and education does not include those dives because they are for some reason are not particularly relevant to mainstream math, and I get that. Is what I'm saying, but there's plenty of tricks and little quirks with numbers, and they have books on this stuff. They go on and on and on.
So why do you have an issue with this one?
I don't at all. It's just whether you're going to get results that you can use in real.
The problem is that
let me finish 1 second. Results you can use in real life, and that's all I wanted to say.
Oh, okay. I get you. So what?
No, he's just simply showing you that it's not special. This little graph that he's showing you that it can multiply and you can.
Nobody said it was special. He said it's different. You're looking for special. We said it was
no, it's not different or it's not special. It's not astronomical.
It's not different. Hey,
groundbreaking. It's not groundbreaking.
Put that graph up there for me.
It's not groundbreaking.
No problem. It's not groundbreaking. It was just created before the people who create groundbreaking stuff.
It's not. It's simple.
Can you tell me how simple this is? What is 68 divided by 7?
We just have to look it up and find the method.
71485.
method. Hold on. You're saying that you would have to figure out a new method of math, correct?
No.
So you would use your
This is like
normal
pi.
method.
Like if you know pi, then you understand that this is a very simple. Like pi is much more impressive.
Sir,
Figuring out pi is
I'm
way
not
more
asking
impressive.
you who gets the trophy for being impressive, sir. I'm asking you if you were to calculate 68 divided by 7 using his chart, you would be using traditional mathematics to do it?
68.
Or would you be learning a new method of math so that you could understand how to do his chart?
No, you wouldn't. You would not. No, you would
I
not.
think the word that you're using is a new, and it's not a new. It's ones that have been presented before, but it's
Not
new to
presented.
us.
It hasn't been
No, wait.
presented to us.
Let me finish, please. So it's when I say new, it's not new to the world. It's only new to me. So yes, of course I can't figure it out right now. Of course it would stop me. If I spent 9 years, or 8 years, or 3 years, or a year, or 6 months, or even a month working on it, I could get it.
It's new to you, and it's new to the Western world for those who haven't, when they got in touch with it, correct?
I know, but you're ignoring what I said before.
One second.
You're right.
Okay, so let's be clear. The Western world had their own mathematics. They came in contact with this, and this was a new method that was completely that came to the same results as their method. That's what this is.
Yeah. How do you know all the maths in the United States or in the Western world? How do you know that?
Again,
There's deeper dives than just probability, calculus,
I'm not handing out
analytical geometry, analytical
sir,
chemistry.
You gotta get your biases out. I'm not handing out.
It's not a bias. I know. I don't want a trophy. I don't want a trophy.
Right.
So you're giving him all the credit, but you're not giving any credit to what's actually out there.
You're not getting it. We know what's
No,
out
you're not really appreciating what you can appreciate, and then you're giving him appreciation.
Sir,
it's like this. It's like
hold on. This is what I mean by trophies. We're speaking on a cell phone made by your science, but you want a bigger pat on the back than that. Fine.
No.
Here it is. No, I'm going to give it to you. I'm going to give you all the appreciation.
Antidote. Give us an antidote.
Glazing that you need. Our science is so amazing. It's great. If not for it, we would not be where we are today. Are you done? Now, can we now give credence to the other method that is doing the same thing?
So not smart to do, because you're giving credence to a carriage when we're over here driving a Corvette.
So you said it's a carriage because we slaughtered these people.
No, a carriage, like a horse-drawn carriage. You're over here. The math is so old. It is extremely old.
Sir, slow down with your argument. Slow down. Do you concede that when the Europeans came over, they saw things that amazed them based on this mathematics?
How about this? Giant.
Yeah, I wouldn't know that. I wouldn't know.
A diagram. Draw a computer. Draw a computer on a piece of paper.
Sir. Again,
try to draw a computer on a piece of paper.
Stop having arguments that you want to have because you have a preconceived notion. I just asked you a simple question about intellectual.
No, you're easily impressed. You're easily enamored.
Sir. And you're easily to disregard things that you don't understand. That's fine as well. But that was the basis of racism. And, sir, that ignorance is not welcome here. So I will tell you this. Will you concede that when the Europeans came over with their established mathematics, they saw structures that were built based on this mathematics that they were amazed by?
No.
How would we know that? How would we know that, though?
Why would I ever concede to that?
That's why, because they documented it.
That is just falsifying.
They documented.
That is trying that you're subsidizing a false claim.
Hey, Jimmy, is what we need is an example of what you're talking about. It's too vague what you're saying. If you talk about the pyramids,
came over to the Amazon rainforest. That's one. There's one of them. Yeah, sure. We can use the pyramids. We can use the astrological measures of the clocks, the calendars. We can use all of these things that they had in their cultures.
You just put 2 and 2 together in that statement. Multiply this. If you want to use the pyramid, there's 1,440 minutes in a day. There's 360 degrees. Multiply that. There's 1,440 minutes in a day. We go around 360 degrees.
Yes,
I multiply.
The pyramids are astronomically correct. We agree.
What is the answer?
I don't know. I haven't done the math. Let me go get my calculator.
Would you like me to do it with you?
No, I
using
don't want
a sidereal day, we go 360 degrees.
You said 1440.
1440 times 360. I will.
Oh shit! I've been on mute. I've been saying it for like 5 minutes.
Bro.
It's 518,400.
Okay, now I'm putting myself on mute for a second. Show me the angles of the Pyramid of Giza.
You said, wait, I don't, about 360. I put 365. I'm a fool. Yeah, 518,400, yeah.
Wow, they just changed it, eh? The images, they just, here's the image.
You don't know, you also don't know about sidereal days.
All right, but what are we saying with this math here? 518,400. What are we?
Take a look at the number. 518,400. That's the Giza Pyramid.
So they weren't using Western math to do that, were they?
Wait, now are you saying that's the length of the Giza Pyramid or a section of it?
No, that's just the math of the Giza Pyramid.
Well, no, I wanted to hear what you had to say because it looks like it didn't quite
go
fit.
ahead. Go.
This is the story of history that the network is sharing with all of us equally. This is where I stem from. It's about games, what I do. I only take from what is being shared with us equally, or what comes out of games, what we can play equally. This is why I showed you Monopoly before. This is why I brought up roulette. There's more into roulette than the little bit of the design, because there are stories in the design. There's stories because we're living by the 3 years and the 1 leap year. That's a story itself. That's
right, so
how
what he did was he took the amount of seconds in a day and he multiplied it by a 360 degree. And what that gave us was a number that had reference to the Giza Pyramid. Whatever story you get from
how do you measure a second? How do you measure a second?
Hold on. Stop trying to decipher and argue with science. We're going to take the facts that we know and accept, and we're going to use them as we know and accept them. As we get the answer that you don't like, you don't get to now.
That's not fair because you don't know how to measure a second.
Sir, you don't go now to refute the accepted facts because you don't like the answer. You've already accepted the facts that they're 1,414 seconds.
I don't care about the answer. What you're saying, you don't know how to measure your answer.
Okay, I'm going to mute you because you're just arguing. The point is that this man has said that this is 1,440 seconds a day. We multiply it by a number that we all know is a number that we all understand, 360 degrees. And then you get a measurement that associates exactly to the pyramid. Now, whatever you get from that, that's you. He's not giving you that interpretation. He's telling you that this is what it is.
I asked a question originally, and it still hadn't been answered. What is the angle purpose of the 51,8,400? What's the purpose of that? Wait, come on, let me finish.
No, we did answer that.
No, you didn't. There's no purpose in the angle that he's using. It's not whether it's a side or whether it's a top. He didn't match it to anything.
I understand your question. You're misunderstanding his purpose. The 51,8,400 is not his number. That is a number of the belief system of whatever graph that is, whatever picture that is that he brought up from the internet, right? That 51,8,400 belongs to, let's say, Christianity, for instance, right? Now, his job is just to say that of this 51,800 number that you brought me, this is the math that I see in it. What does this mean to you?
But I don't know because I don't know what it means to him even. And I don't know that he knows.
It doesn't mean anything to him. It's just what it is.
Well, that's just arbitrary.
The problem is, if we're giving you the
numbers,
seconds, we're giving you the measurements, we're giving you the increments, we're giving you the increments, and then you're trying to manipulate them.
Mr. Tacpans, I
language.
can't see that tablet that you have there. Okay, just to let you know.
Yeah, we can't see that. He knows that.
Yeah.
I am only here, and I can spit all these out all by myself with no other interjection from anybody. But I come here because I don't know everything, and all the questions will extend my mind beyond my own mind. Now we're working together. Only together can we solve the big riddle.
Right, and I appreciate that. But is the question that I have is, what does the 518-400 have to do with the pyramid? I mean,
Okay,
you can't just
I'm gonna
draw a line on it and say it has something to do with it, right?
I'm gonna tell you. First of all, this is what they're sharing with us. The number 42 that goes along with it, mathematically in star system math, which is absolutely perfect. If you like, I will give you a taste of its perfection.
Is what I really want to know, how does that 518-400
Okay,
fit in
51 is a representation of Mars. It's a representation of Q17. It's a representation of our...
Slow down 1 second. 51 is for Mars. Now go ahead.
Okay, hold on a second. Let me flip this around. See where I got
I'm
this.
writing down everything so I can check it.
51 is a numeric value for Mars. 84...
From his roulette table? This is from the roulette table? Yes?
No. The numeric M is the 13th letter, A is the first letter, R is the 18th letter, and S is the 19th letter, equals
Numerology, got you. Okay.
51.
Okay.
Remember, this is all skeleton. I need to create a whole 360 with this. There's a bunch of layers that go on to Mars. There's a lot of connections because only me and you can now do the theory of the game theory. Now, does it have any relationship to this place we are? Does it have any relationship since we use the name Jesus, since we use the name matter, since I use AU as a combination for gold, since I combinated the letters AG for silver or CU for copper, but I know...
Let me answer this question quickly. 51,400 is the volume of the thing.
There's a lot of noise going on through there, so I don't think anyone heard that.
400 is the volume of the pyramid. It's the volume.
But what's the 84? You got 51 for Mars, you got an 8, you got 400.
84 is for 84 is for Pluto. The numeric value for Pluto is 84. The 4th planet and the 9th planet association also fits on this finger here. This is both the 4th and the 9th finger.
That's cute.
No, so here's how you can manipulate math. So
hold on 1 second. Let me just hold on. He asked the question. I want to make sure he has the answer that he was asking.
And there's still the 2 zeros now.
Hold on. Hold on. First, let's make sure we answer your first question. 51,400 represents the actual volume of the pyramid.
Okay. The 51,400 is the volume of the pyramid?
Yes.
Okay.
So now we know that if you take the number of seconds of a day and you multiply it by 360, somehow or another, you get the volume in dimensions of the pyramid.
Okay, so that was 360 times, what was the number you used?
1440.
Oh, 1440. And why did you that was the minutes and the
seconds in a day.
Seconds in a day, thank you.
Okay, continue with your 51,400 explanation.
Okay. So because there's a ton of stuff here. Remember, this is a lot of pieces and parts, and you need to connect all these pieces and parts. If I gave you a puzzle and showed you the end picture, you would say, "I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Show me." So I bring you 1,000,000 pieces and parts, and I'm showing to you the connections, one piece at a time, where they end up in game theory in our society today.
That is fair.
In my society, what I have seen, not your IP address, my IP address.
Yeah, and Mr. Tacpans, it would take a long time to understand what you understand, right?
Well, it took me 20 years.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. So it would take a long time to understand. So the way that you would prove that it works would be to take certain situations and predict what they will be or what they are, and you produce a number, a figure or something that shows you knew about this before you could make the prediction and prove it afterwards, right?
Oh yeah, easy.
That's not seconds in a day, that's minutes in a day. Just a quick correction.
Here, do you want to see this 5184? Does anybody know the Great Mayan Year?
I don't know.
Okay, the Great Mayan Year is
What's great about
25,900.
Mr. Tacpans is that he's using math that it's only stationary. He doesn't know about acceleration. He doesn't know about deceleration. He doesn't know about.
Man, can you stop trying to get trophies for how smart you are, bro? You're smart. Is that enough? You're smart. We love it. You're smart. Can we move on?
Well, did you not hear on day 6 what happened? Man and land, animal, and man was created on day 6. Does anybody know what happened on day 7?
Did he rest?
There you go, and that's how I create everything from the day of rest. So I'm reassociating everything that happened. The 7th day binary code. I mean, you have to see the little things. If you understand the little things, here's the basis of binary code. 1248751. What does this mean? Double up 1, it equals 2. Double up 2, it equals 4. Double up 4, it equals 8. Double up 8, it equals 16. 1 and 6 is 7. 7 and 7 is 14. 1 and 4 is 5. I flip the coin upside down. I start over again. 5 and 5 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. One of the reasons for 6. And you can give me any number here, okay, except for 3, 6, or 9, because 3, 6, or 9 does not work that way. The 3, 6, or 9 work like this.
And Mr. Tacpans,
yes.
What you can do, you can take that number, reverse it, and subtract it from each other, and again, it'll be divisible by 9, but I don't know what that means. But is why I do have a question is which pyramid did you say that was? Because there's 3 pyramids.
Did somebody check it out? I'll have to take a look and see which one.
Well, you gotta, yeah. I didn't see which one. But if you could tell me which one it is, I can check the volume.
Would it matter? Just look up.
It would matter. It would matter.
Just look up which pyramid is that the volume of.
Well, isn't that a little backwards where you can tell me which one it is, and then I can just...
Not really, because if 1,000 people ask me to do something, I cannot move forward. You know, if I had to do all the work.
I'm not 1,000 people. I'm just one.
No, but you're 1,001. There you go. So listen. Give me a second. I'm going to tell you.
Your math is definitely stationary.
Which pyramid is? Oh yeah, I'm stationary. I'm Utopia. You couldn't get more Utopia than me. I got every answer.
Yeah.
He's gonna do it. He's gonna do it, right?
Now it's gonna fit in the Giza area. There's only 3.
Hold on. Let's just. He's gonna do it. I'm gonna let him do it.
Okay, that's fair.
Let's set a little standard. He's gonna be explaining things that are complicated. You're gonna take a side and you're gonna check if he's valid. So you need to do a rigorous check so you can come and refute him.
Right.
So you do that, and when you come back, you refute or you agree.
Right. Exactly. But which one is it? Which Great Pyramid, though?
Giza. It says Giza over here.
Oh, Giza Pyramid. That's what I need to know. Okay.
Okay. So it was the main one, and that was easy to find out.
Right.
I mean, like, you could have done that work and not.
Well, yes, I could. In fact, I'm going to check it.
Right. So let's not interrupt because we want to be contrary. Let's just go ahead and allow the work to be said, and we can argue points that we want to argue rather than argue points that you can prove on your own. And these are all verifiable, provable points because it's mathematics, so he can't lie, right?
Right. I can't lie, and what the numbers do is they lead you, like in a story, like a storybook, like what number 29 tells me. When you said Giza, it's been a while since I thought of it. But in the number count, it's 7981. So now it's telling me to think about the mother and the birth, right? Inside the house under the sun, the divided sun. Now, where in the world do I get all these stories? Stop. Okay, I'm coming back to life.
Okay, Mr. Tacpans. Now, I'm glad you brought that up. Now, in what units are you?
In what unit? I'm in number 3.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Now, what units did you measure it in?
Okay, that's right. What measurement?
What units
Where?
were you
What?
given? What units were you given to measure?
Hold on. This is ready to be contrarian.
Not at all, Dollar. I'm trying to figure out if we can get something right. That's all.
No. What you're trying to figure out is if the belief in the pyramid is right. That's not his belief.
No, I didn't say that.
Okay, so let's be clear. It's mathematics. He's given numbers. He didn't even give the numbers.
I'm just here to check the numbers.
Just listen. We were speaking. Me and you were actually speaking. And in the process of us speaking, he stopped us because a mathematical picture came to him out of what we were saying. He pulled those numbers from what we were saying word-wise, created numerical value, and put them into this, and showed us where it equals the volume of the pyramid.
And I'll be impressed if it's correct.
Now, it is correct.
It might be a coincidence. But at the same time, we're giving him the increments. We're giving him the seconds. We're giving him the math. We're giving him the numbers. We're giving him the 10 digits. How does he decide where that applies? He can decide. He can decide where it applies at any. Like he can just be like. He can be completely subjective. He can be completely subjective and apply those numbers wherever he wants, however he wants. He can decide whenever a coincidence occurs. He can decide whenever certain things occur.
I think Mr. Tacpans is ready to give the units. Right?
So, absolutely. So let's go again. The units is your answer. When you looked it up and you found the pyramid, then the numbers that you got are the units. You're trying to see if he's...
Is it feet? Is it miles? What is the units?
It's volume. Those are the units.
Right, but you have to have a unit for volume.
There's only one unit for volume, right?
No, there's not. You can use inches squared, you can use feet squared, you can use meters squared, cubed. Cubed is a volume. My bad. Cubed is a volume. So let's not make a mistake here.
Okay. So what units would you use for that 1440? 51,400 is the correct unit.
You're using numbers. You're using numbers. You're using units. You're using the units. You're using our units that we give you.
He's trying to play catch a game instead of just accepting.
Okay.
So for example, let's say that we have an inch. Let's say that we have an inch. No, let's say that we have an inch. Now you use a unit that's a little bit smaller than an inch, or you use a unit that's bigger than an inch. You understand what we're saying? It's like you're using our units.
No,
you're using our numbers. Can you use a unit? Can you use a unit different to what we're using?
This is taking too long because I have to go through you to get to him. And look, let me just give you the answers here, okay? That way you can figure out if they match. I don't care. It's 92 million feet cubed, or it's 2.6 million meters cubed. It's real simple. So you just got to get that to work into that exactly without using some foreign abstract unit that no one's heard of.
Okay.
Thank you.
Pretty cool answer after the decimal. 407, 407, 407, 407, 407.
What is a decimal based on? Is it based on a unit that we gave you?
Oh, I don't work on any of these things. I just find the algorithm in the mix, and then when I join into something and somebody's missing some glue or some eraser, I'm there to give them that glue and eraser so they can continue on. If they have a thought, I'll drop the apple on their head.
How do you even know how to use decimals? How do you even think to use decimals? Who told you to use decimals?
The calculator told me, and by the breath upon creation, if I have to go into the depths upon creation, how I got here.
Nobody ever told you to use decimals. Either use an extraordinary amount number, and you start like, if you say 1 out of 10, the scale out of 1 out of 10, you say 10.9, or you say 9.9, or you say 1.1.
I
you
like
never go to 0, and you never go to 10, right?
All right, I got the
within
answer
those
for you.
decimals,
Hold on,
within
I
those
got the answer
decimals,
for you. Hold
you
on.
can use decimals within 10 points.
I
So
gotta
you can
get these
use
answers
infinity
out.
within 10 points.
All right, let me get these answers out for the gentleman because he doesn't understand. He doesn't understand that this gentleman is not an Egyptologist. He's not giving you. He's just giving you math, right? He's just giving you. All right. So the cubit, the royal cubit, is the measurement that is used to come up with that number. It's the measurement that they used to build the pyramid.
Okay.
With, right. 0.523 meters.
Okay, 1 cubit's equal to that, correct?
Yeah, the royal cubit. Yeah.
Yeah, I got it.
Great Pyramids perimeter, east side of the Great Pyramid base design.
But it's a volume.
Right.
It's volume. So yeah, that's not a problem.
All right. So again, that's irrelevant, and the reason why that's irrelevant, I'm glad it satisfies the question. But the reason for that is irrelevant is because he's not an Egyptologist. He's not saying that this is what is going on. He's saying that when you give me these numbers, this is the math, this is the picture, and this is what I get from it. Now, when you go into it and you say, okay, these things all align to be true, there has to be some type of universal association.
That is totally fine. So when we give you the math and we give you the numbers, it is not fair for you to just start manipulating them and then interjecting them into your own beliefs.
But he doesn't have any beliefs. That's the problem. Well, he's not presenting any beliefs anyway. I'm not saying he doesn't have any. He might have some. But he's not presenting.
He might not have any beliefs, but he's definitely manipulating numbers. He's trying to manipulate. A very stark attempt to manipulate the numbers.
I don't see manipulation. I see us getting numbers. I see us calculating them. And I see him saying, look at this. Here's a Great Pyramid. It has the same number attached to it. I see it in the picture. Here,
we're going to do it here. Check this out, okay? So when you multiply the number to the Great Pyramid, 5184, by 5, you equal to 25,920, which is the great year.
Why did you choose the number 5?
Number 5 is what connects the lower house to the upper house in the area space using the 9.
We don't know what that means.
You see
9 area spaces right over here.
You see the manipulation.
So
now you see the manipulation.
No. You have to listen to why he uses it.
I'm using these 9 numbers.
So this grid that we use on our calculator, you're saying there's a reason for this grid that we use. And so the 5 would be the central number in this grid. And so therefore, that's why you multiply it by that 5.
Therefore, there are 9 numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 area spaces below, 4 area spaces above. Everything connects to the 5.
Oh my God.
When
that
you, Chris, I'm going to show you. Hold on, Jimmy. Jimmy is only here for one reason, because he's not here to let anybody finish. He's only here to make sure we never do finish. This is how TikTok works.
Yeah. So he uses this grid for all of his mathematics. We don't understand. That's what he uses his grid for. That's his grid. I just want to make sure that every time he comes up and says something, we can verify it according to his same system. I don't want him to just grab, like you're saying, arbitrary systems. This is a system that he uses. He's shown it to us painted on his floor. So it's not arbitrary. It's written down, documented. Okay?
And those numbers don't add up right, by the way.
What numbers don't add up?
The only numbers I've been asking about for the last 15 minutes.
Which ones?
The 518,400 doesn't add up to that.
What do you mean?
It doesn't match the volume.
What? I don't understand.
What is the basic volume of the Giza pyramid?
The volume is not correct.
Correct.
Not
according to the numbers that he's putting on it. It's not a volume like that.
He doesn't decide the volume of the pyramid. This is
right. No, it's already been decided. We already figured it out. Right. I transferred the cubics into meters, and it's 2.6 million meters cubed. Okay. Now in case I made a mistake, I did it 2 ways. So is what I did. I multiplied the 518,400 against the 0.0523 meters, which I didn't think would work, and of course it came out too small a number. Then I multiplied it times meters cubed, and that doesn't work either. It gets too big a number.
I'm still trying to understand.
Well, if you multiply what he said, the volume came out to be using his method, 360 times 1440. Remember at the very beginning, that's what he said. Okay, you come up with 518,400, and if that's the volume, okay, well, we needed units for that. You said it was a cubit, and he wouldn't understand a cubit because the Egyptians did, and the cubit was equal to 0.0523. That's nice, meters. Okay. Right. Now, if you use meters, it comes out to a smaller number. If you use cubit, if you cube it, it comes up with too big a number.
Okay.
That's why it's important to decide what your units are made of.
Stop just grabbing things because you believe them, man. Relax. Let me read to you what the calculations are, because I'm not a mathematician. I'm going to read it to you and see if it makes sense.
Sure.
Right? If the perimeter is 1760 royal cubits, converting it to centimeters, 760 by 52.3 centimeters.
Why would you convert it, though? You got 2.6 million meters cubed if you look it up.
I'm just reading.
Yeah, but that's the volume. It's already decided.
I'm just reading. So.
Okay.
Right. So if the perimeter is 1760 royal cubits, converting it to centimeters, 760 to 52.3 centimeters, and then to pyramid inches, divide by 2.54, we will give a similar result related to the number of solar days. In summary, the number 518,400 arises when considering a very specific combination of pyramid dimensions, perimeter, with a hypothetical smaller unit measurement derived from the royal cubit. So there's a unit slightly smaller than the cubit. So the cubit isn't quite the exact.
Well, even if it's close, it's not even close on this, is what I'm saying. So, I mean, if you're not measuring it right, I mean, it's simply a volume. You have to use like a trapezoid to figure out what the volume of a pyramid is in the first place.
The derivation is not enough to make sense with the math.
In summary, the number of 518. So they're saying that maybe I might have used the word volume when I said cube. So, because they're saying that it's related to the pyramid, but they're not saying exactly in what way.
It's supposed to be the angle.
The number 518 is related to the Great Pyramid of Giza, specifically to its design, and the ancient Egyptian unit of measurement called the royal cubit, through its connections to the pyramid's perimeter. Royal cubit is the royal, you know what that is? Great Pyramid.
Perimeter, that's totally different.
Right,
totally different. Yeah.
Okay, so again, I don't know what the relation is exactly.
Perimeter would be like the circumference of the bottom.
Maybe could you try to do a little questioning about what that is? Because again, this is not his purpose of these numbers, to figure out what these students are.
Okay, so we're not doing volume. We're doing that's. So now, Mr. Tans, I'll just call you Tans.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, so that number does not have to do with the volume.
It has to do with this. Can you see my picture?
Yes, it's a pyramid.
No, right, the numbers.
Okay, but what do those numbers represent?
You do know that everything I do is a game mode. I find everything out here that when I bring it into game, it gets classified under their numbers of what everything else is under. Then when I look at the numbers together or in group, like 5184, or just combinations of two of the numbers, they tell me different stories amongst the combinations. But I'm just going to go on, so I'll tell you what this is in a minute.
And I appreciate that. I'm sure, hey, anyone spends 20 years like you did? Yeah. Wow. Congrats. I mean,
Byron, can you reiterate how he was wrong about the volume?
Oh yeah, it's not a volume. It can't be. There's no way. So he changed it to perimeter.
It's angle.
No, I didn't change it. I just read.
Okay.
Instead of speaking what I thought I understood.
Tacpans is saying angle now.
It's angle. 51 degrees by 84. They have the same thing running the angle of the rainbow, which is number 42. It's funny. The rainbow angle is 42.
Got it. Okay. So we found out it is. I get that. So you found an angle that fits that number.
Well, I don't know if I found it or somebody started studying it and saying, what does this mean?
See, that's what I'm saying. The thing is, like, you're giving him credit for something he's not taking credit for. All he's doing is showing you that these things already exist.
Right. It's arbitrary then. He found it.
No, again, he didn't find anything. These people, the internet, when you type in 518400 and the period of the Giza, the internet, the World Wide Web says there is a connection.
But you do see that it would never be 51 because 45 is straight up. 45 is straight up.
Hold on. He's not.
Before you continue, just let me talk.
Hold on. No, you're gonna let me finish and then you're gonna talk. He is not saying that anything is the connection. His point is just that somewhere in the universe, this connection has been made. Because
I'm telling you, there's no way that's 51 degrees. There's no way that's 51 degrees. Because 45.
The problem why I don't mute the other guy, I don't mute him because when he speaks, even if he's refuting with some actual facts. Don't come up. We're not your therapist. We don't want to know what you feel like. The reason why I've let this gentleman speak for over an hour on end about something that I think is probably absolutely ridiculous is because everything he is saying is verifiable based on what his methodology is. And when he tells me to look for something, it's there. Okay? So now, my point to you guys is stop trying to pick apart where you find flaws and try to understand how is it possible that this is there. Why is there really a connection between...
It's a fraudulent fraud.
Speaking, bro, why is there really a connection between our conversation about what I don't even remember what we were talking about, and that number 1440, which was the minutes in a day, times the 360, which equals a relation to the Great Pyramid. I think it's interesting that the minutes of the day times 360 degrees has a relation to the Great Pyramid, which is a bigger picture than you trying to discredit a person that pointed us in that direction.
Remember, he didn't take credit for it anyway, so we're not discrediting anything, or I'm not discrediting anything. Okay, so he just produces it, and we look at it and we try to figure it out, and I'm fine with that.
Okay, great.
Yeah. Now, you could have 51.84 degrees, because straight up would be 90, by the way. And split would be 45 each if you had a zenith, if it were a square. Now, I'll be honest with you, the issue I'm having is we had to move around a bit to figure it out, and that's okay because we were trying to figure it out. Because maybe we just didn't know that that's what we were after in the first place. Is that fair?
Well, I'm fair with everybody. I learn from everybody, and because sometimes there's a lot of people on it. I don't know if I should even say this, but you do know, and if we are awake, everybody's going to accept this. That this app right now opens and closes when it wants. It's dictating what we can say, what we don't say. We changed our words and ways we say things. There's also, for some reason, all of a sudden, out of nowhere, people are just on purpose arguing, and the minute they see you have part of an answer, they don't even let you finish, and they're chopping you down without fully understanding and saying, I don't understand, explain it. They chop it down. So where is discussion in this? There is no quality of discussion. We're all acting like amateurs.
Right. And we are amateurs, to be truthful. Yeah.
Well, we're learning.
Yeah. So and we're all learning, and we're trying to figure things out. I get that. But is what I guess I see things. I just want to see tighter connections on things, not have to look all over the place to find something. Because in the universe, there's going to be some angle. There's going to be some part of something that fits something that we add up together.
Right, and the story it tells you, I scratch my head to understand this story. Is it possible that on a dice cube, this is what I scratch my head about, is it possible that there's a center dot here and a center dot here and a center dot here? Is that and if I flip it around, there's no center dots? Isn't that unbelievable?
It was even or odd numbers.
Do you want to see the first three numbers, what they say, the letters in the alphabet? A is the first letter, C is the second letter, E is the third letter. It says ace. When you play the deck of cards, this ace dot, which is located at the heart of the matter.
You're gonna have to break that down for us. Where do you get ACE as the first, second, and third letter?
The first letter in the alphabet is A.
Okay.
The third letter is C, A, B, C. The fifth letter is E. A, B, C, D, E.
Okay, so basically you're looking at a 5-sided die, and you're labeling each of these letters on a 5-sided die, on a 5 dot, and then you transfer it to the other sides in order to translate what the letters mean.
2 through 6 on one side, 1 through 5 on the other side. You can never have 6 where you have 1 because it is on the flip side. It's on the tail side. So it shows a distinct separation.
What is the reason you choose the side of the die with the 5 to be the basis of your calculation?
I chose it because all 3 of them are identical hearts. I was just looking for the ace heart in the center. That's why I chose it.
But isn't it true just the odd numbers can have a dot in the center? On a 6, if you use only 6 sides and numbers 1 through 6.
No.
So even numbers don't have it. What can you point out where it is on that dice? Where even number has a dot in the center?
Oh, you want to use the schematics?
No, just the dice.
But this is professional. Do you want to use amateur or professional? I link things up through professionality and through amateurality. The difference.
Okay. How about that dice in your hand?
You're right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely mostly right.
Okay.
You're absolutely, because also where you don't have the dot, okay, this is now, you're absolutely right, but there's more of a story inside of this. I don't know if I should jump onto that. So anyways, when you play...
Question, isn't the fact that only odd numbers have a dot in the middle, isn't that just an observation of fact? What relevance does that have to proven or disproven or...
You need an odd number to put a dot in the center.
Right, but aren't odd numbers part of a number line?
Of course. Part of the natural numbers, yeah.
Right, so that I don't see the relevance in the argument.
Well, I mean, in other words, there's no real other reason geometrically why you would have a dot in the center unless it's an odd number. Because you have even numbers wrapped around it.
Right, so...
It's only if you regale it to 6 numbers. So if you go up to like 10, you have 2 4s and two dots in the middle.
All right, so the reason I
no, you can use 10. It's an even number. You use 9.
If I would
9 you would have, of course
4 4 and 1.
Yeah, 4 4 and 1 in the center, but you still have 2 things in the center with 10. You have 2 things in the center with 12.
I see. With the 10 you distribute it 5 and 5 around, right?
Yeah,
maybe not. Yeah, you're right. I think you're right on the 10. Yeah.
Yeah, but we have a 6-sided guy. We can't give him that much credibility. I'm not a fanboy. I'm not giving him that much credibility. we're gonna stick to the 6-sided die. It's what we really got. And what I'll say is that in defense of the 6-sided die with only having an odd number, is that his 5 from the calculator group that he showed us is still the same.
It really just depends on the design. It depends on the design. So you could have 2 2 and 1 in the middle. That's a 5, right?
Right.
2 2 on each side, and then a 1 in the middle. That's a 5.
Yeah. But we have to deal with what we actually have and what he's actually using. That's his template.
If you want to do a 3, you can have 1 1 on each side, and then 1 in the middle. That's a 3.
Yeah, we can
do it. You can do it. The design is just based upon how you want to describe the dot.
We can do it any way we want, but
right, but you still have a dot. You have a dot in the center if you use.
You still have a dot in the center.
Angles, yeah. It's either diagonal or straight across. Either way.
Yeah, you could have 2 2 and then 1 in the middle. That's 5. You could have, you could do it all the time. It just depends on how you want to describe the dot.
All right, but the point is that the 5 on the die is going to be the basis of what you get the mathematics from the die from. So the question is, why specifically the 5?
Exactly.
And the interesting thing is the correlation between his calculator grid that he showed us, where he used the 5, right?
What is the 5 for? Why did you use 5 on that?
Well,
rather than 6-sided.
Right. So the 5 is the center of the calculator grid. So it repeats itself. The same thing is repeating itself again. It's consistency. That's all we want to understand, is that it's consistent along his methodology. You may want to understand why later, and you can get deeper into the weeds of that. But first, let's just stick to his methodology is consistent, and it shows itself to what it's producing in a consistent way that we can verify. Right. So I'm trying to get rid of the arbitrary thing. Right. I'm trying to.
I don't think you can get rid of the arbitrary. What is the name for that?
Do you concede that the same number that he used in the last calculation?
It's extremely arbitrary. It's extremely. I think we're arguing arbitrary.
I'm with you, but do you concede that he used a template of 5 in this one? He used a template of 5 in this one, and they both came from these games or these grids that we've created, not he's created.
Of course not, but he's what he's trying to do is trying to decipher symbolism out of die and why they designed the way the dies, and then he's talking about center points. So what we're explaining is that you can make a center point out of any number, not of any number, but of many numbers.
Yeah, but we didn't do that.
Within the die.
But we didn't do that, right? We made the die. He didn't. He didn't choose the die. We made the die. All he did was say, this is part of the game. I'm going to grab something from the game. Right?
At the same time, it's still an arbitrary dice that man created.
It's still arbitrary because regardless of how we make the die, he can still.
No. You can't say regardless. We got billion-dollar, trillion-dollar industries behind this.
No, in other words, we can design the die however we want. The numbers are still gonna. The die is still gonna work the same. The numbers are still gonna work out the same. Regardless of the design. If a 3 if a 3 is a 3, a 4 is a 4, a 5 is a 5, a 6 is a 6. The numbers are still going to come out the same no matter how we roll the die.
Listen, to be fair, if we call them roses and tulips instead of 1, 2s, and 3s, you're correct. It would still be the same. But we still be having a conversation using the words roses and tulips instead of the numbers 1, 2, and 3s. So it doesn't refute anything that he's saying. What I'm telling you is that he has not created the die. On the die and the calculator, the 5 has this unique positioning and design that makes it so that it has the ability to be manipulated in these ways for him to choose them arbitrarily, if that's what you want to say. But they both have this central dimension that is built into it by us.
Right, so why not use the numbers 0 through 5?
Well,
so you want to box it in?
Go ahead, you explain.
I mean, there's 1,000 stories here. Hold on a second. I was going to show you something. I have 1,000 stories, so just hold on a second. Just hold on a second. I got to put this here.
I appreciate all the time you put into that. By the way, again.
Oh, it's for all of us. It's not for me. Thank you very much. But this is like, it's addicting. I learned something every single day for 20 years.
Yeah.
I started writing in a book. I said, I'm going to write a book. And then I said, who's coming to read my book? And I'm learning today, tomorrow. If I keep learning, I may as well just share it. Somebody's got to follow me. Imagine if I finish 30 years from now, who's going to follow me? So I just started sharing. I don't care if somebody knows what I know. It makes no difference, because I believe that the water, the air we breathe, either is weighted to this side or weighted to this side. I'm looking at this as another way, okay? What I'm trying to say is that if our strength is the air we breathe and the honesty amongst ourselves to share the honest word. So I believe that if we stop looking towards the material world and start thinking about the neighbor and the neighbor reflecting me, and I'm not going to be mean to the neighbor, and we have to flow. There has to be like a suspension between us, just like the suspension on a car, or the walls that separate your room and my room with an extra brick for a little bit of our own privacy. So anyways, so make a long story short, we're coming through a portal in time according to these cubes right now, and it's even dictated. I can explain it to you easily, but forget about that. What were we talking about? I talked for a reason. I came in. Yes, I want to show you the perfection of these cubes. I want to show you this. This is crazy. Okay, 1 and 5 is 6, 2 and 6 is 8. Why did I choose these two numbers? Because the cube itself is 7. Okay, so when I pick up two cubes together, right, the separate sides of two cubes is 6 and 8. You remember before it added to 7, now it adds to 6 and 8. Separation of the seventh gate. Pretty simple. But wait, I'm going to show you the math. No stories. See 3 and 5? Can you find 3 and 5 over here?
Hard to see that, really it is, just to be honest with you.
Can you see the 3 and 5?
The dice are in the way, actually. But...
No, can you see the 3 and 5 on the dice?
Oh, yeah, yes.
Can you see the 2 and 4 on the dice?
Yes.
Can you see the 2 and 4 and the 3 and 5?
Yes.
2 times 4, 8. 2 plus 4, 6. 5 times 3, 15. 5 plus 3, 8. 8 and 6, 14. 1 and 4 equals to 5. 15 and 8, 23. 2 and 3 equals to 5. Now, the equation, after you star math it, they both equate to the same thing once they flip over to their own worlds. They're equating the same with different numbers.
Right, and after 20 years, look, if I couldn't recite that, boy, I'd be upset with myself. Okay, and I guess I do mean that in an arbitrary way, and I'm sorry. Numbers are, like we said earlier, using numbers in different ways than what we teach in school is not that new. It's unique, for sure, and they have books written on this all the time.
Right, but this is done over 2,000 years ago.
Right, and even in my lifetime, I figured this out when I was 20-something about the difference in nines, okay? So I mean, it's not crazy that if I can figure out something like that, I'm an average person, that people throughout 2,000-3,000 years should figure out much more, correct?
Here, I understand the problem here.
Yeah.
The problem here is that you don't respect your mind enough.
Maybe.
You don't respect the intangible part of your mind or the intangible parts of the universe enough. Because if you were able to figure out the interesting parts of nines, and you didn't discover them, right? Everybody knows that nines are crazy, right?
Right, yeah.
But you were able to decipher these things and understand these things on your own time, right? And so, to me, that says that there's a universal understanding that you could have gotten from that, or you could have looked into about that, but you just looked it off as arbitrary play of numbers. And that's fine that you felt that way about it, but that doesn't mean that you're correct.
Well, no, I didn't feel that way. I thought I had something when I first found it. And then I started to research it and found out that it was in books already. And in fact, they had many things to deal with numbers 1 through 9 and on and on and on.
And so, you accepted that it was just...
You know, I could see that by reading the books, that yes, there are many things and ways to move numbers around. I don't want to say manipulate, because you don't really manipulate the math. With this, you would be moving the numbers around to have an outcome, something outside of math.
Right. So I believe that that's what the purpose of math is for, right?
Only if you're using like an applied math, where you use something, and when you talk about building a bridge, there's something that you know what you're building before you get there. You know, that's why I say, other than arbitrary, reverse engineering it, so to speak, you come up with something, you find the pyramids, you go, oh my God, if you do this and that, it works backwards to this.
All right. So if we just...
It's only a two-dimensional constraint that the die only has 6 sides. It's only a two-dimensional constraint. Now you could add a side, and that would completely, dismantle any kind of math that you
add wins to it too, man. We can't just deal with whatever we want to do. Right?
Yeah, it just so happens. It just so happens that it has 6 sides.
Well,
it just so happens.
That is you relegating all our instances of coincidence, instead of saying that one molecule affects the actions of another molecule.
You know, that's totally different, and that I totally understand.
That's totally different. It's like saying like the dice has to have 6 sides versus it just so happened that it has 6 sides.
What's the
You're
difference?
saying that it has. You're saying that in order for your math to work, it has to have 6 sides.
Do you believe in cause and effect?
Sure.
So do you
Not that it has to be that way, but I understand cause and effect.
Okay, so do you believe that something that happens 400 years ago could have an effect on something today?
Of course.
Okay, so we have to accept that the reason why it just so happens to be the way it is because of the cause and effect of humanity and our understanding of the world, the sciences, probability, and all of the other things that go into making the die that it is.
Yeah, the cause and effect can go both ways. Cause and effect can cause you to be misunderstood about a certain subject. Like, for example, you could think that the Earth is flat because you see it to be flat. So there's a cause and effect.
You can always create. There can always be. The problem is that we have.
Yeah, cause and effect is not a good example because your mind can easily be manipulated.
The problem is that cause and effect is what created the die.
Yeah, but what are you causing and affecting on what mind are you causing and affecting?
Do you concede that cause and effect is what created the die?
Cause and effect created the die? No. The die has no. The die is it's objective. It's outside. It's outside of our consciousness. It's regardless. It does not matter. It does not matter. The die does not care what we think. The die has only one choice, and it has one choice, and those choices are 6 sides. It has no other choice.
Let's move on. It's fine. No problem.
One question. I just brought to mind because I believe I remember seeing you, Mr. Tacpans. It just came to my mind. Now, do you believe in flat Earth, or do you just talk to flat Earthers about your system? Because I've seen you before on a flat Earth. Well, I just remembered that.
Oh, I never know what group I jump into, but I definitely jumped into a round or a flat. What do I believe? What do I think? What does the numbers show? What do the numbers say? The numbers say control. Our system, when you're looking at vehicles, washing stations, moving gears, things that need to be repaired, things that are continuous, reasons for the sun getting bigger and smaller, things like the moon coming in, showing up at different times, and we're always told it's something else, tells me that we live in a controlled system, number one. Anything that's controlled is automatically square. Okay, now we don't know what energy or gravity is. I know under my own thesis, okay, that it's a controlled, whatever it is, it's under control. I know under a certain effect, the water on my ceiling takes forever before it even drips down. It sticks to my ceiling. Do you know that? After I take a shower, if I spray the ceiling, it'll drip until a certain part, and then it'll dry up right there on the ceiling.
Mr. Tacpans, you know what I'd like you to do? I'd like you at some point, as we're having this conversation, I'd like you to grab some numbers out of the conversation, right? I'd like you to remember where you grabbed them, what part of the conversation, and why you grabbed them. I'd like you to do your calculation. I would like you to point to your summary, and then we'll decide what that means to us.
Okay, so let me do the 5184. Can I finish it?
Okay. I'll go with that. Okay.
We kind of went through that, and if we go through that again, they're gonna dispute it because
Well, there's no disputing it.
Guys, good conversation. I have to go.
All right, man. Appreciate it. We don't
Thanks,
remember
Jimmy.
what the conversation.
Thanks, Jimmy.
What the conversation was. Okay, sorry. Go ahead. Have a good one, Jimmy. Yeah, we don't remember what the conversation was we were having that brought about the 5100. We do remember it was about the 1440, and the 360 came in there somehow, right?
There is
360 degrees. Yeah.
Yeah, there's so much. There's just so much. So you see, first
as we have conversation going forward, right? I want you to do that same thing. I want you to grab some numbers out of that conversation, and I want you to do that. But this time, we're going to remember what it is the original conversation was, so we can see if there's any correlation to the original conversation and to the summary, which is eventually will be the pyramid that we ended up at.
Hey, listen, Dollar, I got to get going for no other reason. I've spent a little time up here. I appreciate everybody's. Yeah. And I hate to move out at this point because it seems like we're kind of come to some kind of conclusion. Unless you have it right now, then I'm fine with that.
Just real quick, you see the 7 and the 13 that links up to the Mayan? No matter which number or box you choose, they all equal to 27 when added together.
Okay. Without looking, I'll trust what you're saying. I mean, I see it, but
I've done all the divisions between 1 and 100. There's nothing that works like these two numbers, 7 and 13. There's no other one. They all have their own algorithm, but none of them add up to the same 6 digits. None of them add up 6 digits and equal to 27, just like this one does. Yeah. Only this one does. And not only that, there's an algorithm in it with between the air sign, the earth sign, the water sign, and the air sign, the fire sign. There's also an algorithm mixed up between the mutable fixed and the cardinal signs. In fact, with these numbers that we saw here, there's no mutable signs. These numbers here is what creates 3, 6, and 9. So either 9 was broken down to become them, or because 1 and 2, the system of 10, 1 and 2, 4 and 5, 7 and 8 is in the system of 10. The 3, 6, and 9 is what comes out of that system.
Okay. Well, listen. Anyway, I'm gonna take off, guys. I appreciate the time. I mean that.
All right.
Yeah.
No problem.
Yeah. I'll look for, of course, Dollar. I'll see you soon, and Mr. Tacpans, I may see you as well.
Sure. Hey, Miss Ultimate Truth, man, how you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
You getting down in the comments, man. What you want us to say?
No, I've heard of the platonic solids. I've been in rooms with Mr. Tack before, and I find it fascinating. I mean, I sort of delved into a lot of this stuff too myself years ago, but I'm just now getting back into it, so I'd like to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, so numerology is, I think, something that I've been familiar with. But when you take numerology and you begin to add it to things that come from various cultures or ancient cultures or past cultures, you kind of receive the message and try to take consideration.
You know what? We're having a hard time hearing you.
Yeah, I try to take.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, I try to take it into real consideration when people bring things that I can verify. If you can And the problem is with a lot of the pseudo stuff is that it can be verified in a lot of ways, right? And I know that science picks and chooses what it can verify based on, I don't know if it's popularity, money, politics, whatever the case is, but there's something outside of science, which is the reason they choose the path that they choose. So, I accept mainstream science. I do. I accept mainstream scientific observations. I don't quite accept mainstream science interpretation. That's where me and mainstream science like to clash. Like when they start saying this is the reason why. That's where
there's a lot of pseudoscience out there, so you gotta be wary of that.
Right.
And I happen to be a flat earther, yeah.
Right. So me, I don't believe in a flat earth or a round earth. I believe that it's some variation of the two. I believe that perspective is what will determine which one it is. And if you believe in God and you get the description of your earth from a God's eye view, then it's flat. And if you don't believe in a God and you get your perspective from the inferior view of man, then you'll believe that it's whatever, like all of the roundness that you see around yourself, right?
Can you make me a sign that says I just want to see where the numbers lead me and words that associate with the numbers. Then we can all see the story together and make it look alien-like.
Mathematical, spiritual zombie. And
Oh, I know.
and so now he's got what was the math, Mr. Tack? What'd you come up with?
I came up with that if you wrote out your name Genesis, right? In fact, it has to have a little bubbly in Genesis. I think they sold it as a BEER. But anyways, besides that, I look at words like Nacera, Jacera, gene synthesis. The S also looks like a 5. The number between the two S's look like a 515. When you have 5 and 1, like in the Giza pyramid, remember, numbers to theory. Theory comes out is what it is I document where numbers go and other things, person, places, or things that go along with the number. So the word puck equals to 51. I have to consider it is 4 letters. I have to consider it has a reverse alphabet. So I'm going to stop here and tell you that what I create are understandings through equations using existing codes. In fact, they're not even codes. You want to hear one of them?
Yeah.
They scored a goal. It's a grand slam beyond the arc. All of these are stories of what is happening in these games. In these games, each game has either a number of innings, a time limit, or etc. Each one will fit into a different numeric category. I like to bring down everything to A, B, C, D. And then everything up from there is just another element that combinates with it because of how our counting goes. And I will give you an example. When I say first for the second time in numbers, it will be at 21st. Agree or disagree?
Why?
Well, you tell me. Why would I say after 1, my next one, to say the
Because
same?
there's a 2.
There's a 2, which is second.
Yeah.
And then a 3, which is third.
Right.
And then a 4, which is fourth. And then fifth, TH. And then sixth, TH. And then seventh, TH. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Whoop. Beep, 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 beep. We're at 13th. Now we go with TEEN, TH. 14, 15, 16, 17. But wait, we stop at 16. Why do we stop at 16? Because 16 and 17 are not the same. 16, according to words, is not, according to words, is 9 plus 7 equals to 16. Because when we get to 17, it's 10 plus 7. Where did I get this from? I got this, first of all, I'm going to tell you, and then I'm stopping. Do you think I'm out of line? What can we keep up here, dollar? What are we doing? Do I stop? Do you want to say something? Okay, so what happens in Hebrew, okay, and in English, and in French?
Oh,
Well, I understand.
You were going from
Yes.
the fourth.
There's a,
Deviation.
yeah.
There's a deviation in the speaking on how they say numbers between the English, the French, and the Hebrews. So I differentiate it myself. I'm
At
creating
16, right? At
Ye-
16.
at 16 and 17, there's a deviation. There's another deviation between 12 and 13.
Right.
And now 12 is 1 and 2, right? So 1 plus 2 equals to 3.
Right.
13 is at 1 and a 3. Is that correct?
yes.
Okay, so look, let me go through this. So 12 is 1 and 2 equals to 3. 13 is 1 plus 3 equals to 4. So far, so good?
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember, this is so tedious. You need to have a strong mind. If you let me lead you, you will see. Now, you might say, well, you just added that in. No, I didn't add it in. Neither did I finish with the 7 and 13 perfection. Remember I flipped this up here a couple of times? This is all about 7 and 13. Right down to the Mayan clock. It shows a double and a single window pane. So I'm going to jump into this after. So let me just continue on. So in Hebrew, when they say 10 and 5, okay, they say the name of God is Yod-He. Yod-He is 10 and 5. So how does that mean anything? Because when they go to say 15 now, what they're going to do is they're going to go Tet, which is 9, and then they're going to go Vav, which is 6. And now I still can't say, I can't say Yod Vav, right? But I'm still allowed to say Tet Zion. In Hebrew, they've separated it. So Tet Zion is the association of 9 and 7. Right? This is where that word that came in, the G-I something something word from before, Giza. Yeah, where Giza came in. Has to do with the mother of the two houses. Now, what it is between 12 and 13 is also 12 is noted to be what is the female for the Bat Mitzvah, and the 12 is the male for the Bar Mitzvah. On a dice, what's that?
No, I agree.
On a dice cube, guess what? Do you know what the corridor of 4 and 3 is? 4 and 3. If the 3 is representing the female and the 4 is representing the male, they're running the same corridor.
So is that somewhat related to creation, is it?
Well, you need, in this game that I play, right, you need 1 and 2 to equal to what is 3, and then through 3 you can run the corridor through 4. And you know what something about 4 is? There's 4 runs in Trinity. You know that? Check it out. 4 runs in Trinity. Do you see it? Oh, let me see if I can hold this here. Do you know why 4?
Hey, Plus, let me ask him a question first. Gareth, are you familiar with Mr. Tacpans?
I am, yeah.
Okay, no, for mine. Okay, I'm fine. 'Cause I just want to make sure it's not some of the people who come in that know me that are just like, what's going on here? All right, continue.
So 4, 5, and 6 have 4 corners in common, both the 4, the 5, and the 6.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's ironic about this for me? Is this 6, 5, 4 equals to the Fed. In order to connect these numbers on a calculator, you need to use the number 5, the 4 and 6 on our opposite sides of the house. The top 4 areas and the bottom 4 areas, you know where they connect to? The 5. This is the separation joining between 4, 1 area, and 4 areas. The 4, 5 connects equaling to 9. The 5, 6 connects equaling to 11. The house of 9, 11. Check it out. 1 and 8 equals to 9. 2 and 7 equals to 9. 4 and 5 equals to 9. 2 and 9 equals to 11. 3 and 8 equals to 11. 5 and 6 equals to 11. If you want to lock them up, you run 3 and 6, 9, to 4 and 7, 11, running to 5. Now you interlock the two houses. 365.47 days a year. Why am I using that and not 5.25 days a year? For the constellations, right? There's an extra 0.22, but then that can be discussed and I can explain it, but I'm not going to do it right now, right? So if you want, we can just say we're running this area here, 365.25 days, and running 1 square inside the house. So anyways, let me just back this up. So we had 12 and 13, okay, the male and the female. But when we began at 1 through 12, and then 1 through 13. 2 different equations telling 2 different stories. So what does it mean? It means the male and the female run in the same house. So what is it that runs in the same house that qualifies who we are in this relationship to this to house? And that would be the breath inside the body in our creation. Now I just want to stop there. I lost my train of thought and there's a great buzz going on right now, so I'm I'm having trouble concentrating. Does anybody hear it?
No, I ain't got it.
Nah, I don't hear anything.
Oh yeah, it's huge. I think it means I have to slow down because I also lost myself. So I'm
definitely understand why you could lose your train of thought in this crap.
Yeah, so what it is you remember we were talking, or the gentleman before was talking, we're going to connect the first line with the sixth line, it'll equal to the seventh line, right? And it's not perfect. It's not perfect. It's not. And it's really cool. Do you know why? 142,857 times 7 equals 2. Check the number out. So when this guy is saying that it equals, it doesn't equal. It doesn't equal. See, now I'm missing, because I multiply it by 7, I'm missing 7. So if
you get the 369 again.
Yeah, the 369 is the extension of what is. See, the answer before to any of those numbers will always equal these 6 numbers and not this. This is the cardinal signs. These are the fixed signs. Now, if I'm creating a story, what are the cardinal signs? What are the fixed signs? In the society we live, according to the astrologists, okay, I can look at right up now what are cardinal and fixed signs, and everybody can see. So it's everything that's fair to everybody. This is not a big mathematical equation. This is just a basic association. The band sounds great with all the instruments and one singer for the whole band, you know. So this is all I'm doing, is I'm taking all those who got elected, all those, like all the president's men. What does this time we're in right now have to do with Grover Cleveland? Grover Cleveland was both the 22nd and 24th president. The 23rd president was the in-between. Joe Biden was the 46th president, 23, 46. Except 45 and 47 is unlike 22 and 24, but the alignment is between 23 and 46. Where does that alignment come out? It comes out in the alignment of 324. What is the alignment of 324? Is once you get the 3, right, everything begins at 3. Everything begins at 3. 3 runs all the way over to 4. Same corridor. So when you have number 5 and number 1, call it the bookends. Call these the bookends. What you have in between is 2, 3, and 4, from whichever way you go. If you want me to put it up to 2 hands, okay, this will be 7, 8, and 9. Or 7, 8, and 9. So there's different ways of understanding this. Now I just lost my trend of thought. Wow, not happy about that. The 2, 3, and 4. The vibration, the healing vibration of the planet is 2, 3, and 4. The lower house is played between fire and fire, 1 and 5, between Aries and Leo. And then the upper house is played between Leo fire and Sagittarius fire. They are each of the holder of the heart position when you look at the deck of cards, but not the 7. Not the 7. Why not? Because after 4, everything needs to be connected. 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. Right? But the thing is, the 7 card doesn't have a heart position like the ace position. Would you like me to show it to you?
Yeah. Because can't you see the 5 and the 2 in the 7 as well?
See, the 3 has the ace position for the ace, and then it's only apparent back in the 9, but not in the 7. Because the 4th area of counting, we need to transfer over. We transfer in the 4th area. It's 1, 3, 5. There's a transfer over here at 7. Just like you go 1, 2, 3. 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals to 6, plus 4 equals to 10. 1 plus 0 equals to 1. But not all transfers happen on 1. There's transfers at 7. 1 and 6, like the cube, equals to 7, and there's a transfer. So nothing has to do with me. 0. The 6, why I'm saying the 7 and the 13 are so perfect according to the Mayans who preceded us. It's absolutely dynamic. It's just dynamic. Did I lose it here or something here? It's just dynamic. Every single one of these numbers have 6. There's 6 numbers to each one of these. And each one of these, okay, equal to 27. Each and every one of them.
What is that called?
This is the Mayan Sanskrit. This is the Toltec and the Hab calendar. The 260. Yeah. The 260 can also be understood as the beginning of, check this out, check this nutty thing out, that when you add up A through M, or 1 through 13, it equals to 91. When you add up 14, which is N, all the way to 26, which is Z, equals to 260, and so does the exact movement of the Hab calendar, which equals to 7 by 13 equals to 91, or what is the average of 20 times 13 equals to 260. Let me show you. The beginning of the alphabet is 13 letters. The end of the alphabet is 13 letters. When you add up 1 through 13, it equals to 91. 7 by 13 is 91. The Mayan calendar has the same setup. All these 6 numbers is what is 6 times 4 plus 3. Now, I make it all perfect. Plus 1, plus 2, plus 3. What happens? Plus 1, call it the moon. Plus 2, call it the beta moons. 2 moons on the outside, the mother of the house. 3 moons is call it the singular moon of Earth, and the 2 moons of Mars. This is just theory. Where do I get this theory from? The 4th planet has a $sign on the keyboard. The 3rd planet has the pound key on the keyboard. Call it Mars, the 4th planet. Call it Earth, the 3rd planet. But since I'm changing these numbers for words, the numeric value of Mars equals to 51. The numeric value of Earth equals to 52. Add 51 and 52 together.
103.
103, or how about JC for Jesus Christ? 103 September. 103 is Gemini with Capricorn coming together. 3 is your alpha beta, okay, coming into existence. 1 and 2 equals to 3. The Queen and the King, 62 and 41, 103. 13 for the Bar Mitzvah. 1 times 3, 1 plus 3 is what will create the corridor between 3 and 4. Earth and Mars. Ironic that Earth is number 52 and Mars is 51. When you add them up, it equals to 6 and 7. And they've been calling out for many years in the spirit of 76. And it's an odd and an even number. Has anybody considered counting on angles? If I counted on this angle, can somebody help me? 1, 2, 3. Now watch what happens when I do that association. On my count, this cell over here got cut and split in half. So I would go from 1 to 3 in the area space of 2, which is undivided, as 2 is the area space of occupancy between 1 and 3. When we count over here, we can see 1 line, 3 lines, 5 lines in order to keep this balance. The area space of occupancy is within between the whole area space, the 2 area, which is not noted. When we count by 2s, 2, 4, and 6, not noted 5 and 7. So we can see 1, 2, 3 counts everything to a half area space. This is my deduction. Only the Queen runs her hat on that angle, but not the Jack. nor the king, but only the queen. The queen has 8 eyes. The jack has 6 eyes. And the king has 7 eyes. We have 28-day cycle in the moon, to where we bring on the air passage, where Gimel and the letter C come together between the upper realm and the lower realm. 2 air signs come together. We have a corridor, right, that runs through and connects everything together, and that is 6 and 4. So we have 2 and 8, 10. We have 6 and 4, 10. We have 3 and 7, 10. This is where your jack, queen, king come in. And they come in because the queen represents 8 eyes, meaning the queen has all the eyes. Where the 7, or the 7th gate between 6 and 8, is because the king of diamonds, right, the king of diamonds has only a singular eye. So because of that singular eye, it's going to only have 7 eyes. And the jack has 2 eyes, the single eye of the king. This is going to run the moon cycles. Why? Because there's 3 cards. This is just in theory. There are 3 cards that have 2 eyes, 1 card that has 1 eye. So I understand now there's 1 suit that's dedicated to the rotation, and there's 3 that are dedicated to the harmonization.
And again, just to be clear, these are your theories that you are trying to work through in order to get to an understanding of what the actual factual numbers are presenting to you.
Correct. Correct.
So the numbers present to you factual. The numbers give you factual presentations. You then take these numbers and their factual presentations and try your best to interpret them as to what they mean. I just want to say that twice so that everybody down there can understand the difference between what your actual methodology is and what your belief system is. Because they can throw out your belief system, and I think that you'll be perfectly okay with that. But then to throw out the number system or the methodology, I think would be foolish, and I think you would agree that wouldn't be the way to go. Like, there's no factual reason why you would throw out your number system.
Well, we can't throw out anything, because how can we deny that? Or anything we deny means we know the truth.
That's correct. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So I just put it on the shelf, and that's why I'm here today, so we can all just put it on the shelf and come back and say, okay, this matches, that matches. Because when the whole system comes to, like, there's some people, some avatars that come out here and say, well, it doesn't work because
we have a question from the comments. Named Dawn. She asks, "Are we in the 9th year?" I don't know what she means by that, but I'm going to ask you: are we in the 9th year?
According to the regular numerologists, we are in a 9th year, but not me. I'm in an 11th year. In star system math, I'm in an 11th year.
Okay, so you have a different calculation that'll tell you what year you're in.
Yes.
Is the 9th year and the 11th year, are they equivalent when you transfer the mathematics? Meaning that if I'm in one culture and I say this is the 9th year, and I go in another country and I say this is the 11th year, are we still talking about the same actual year?
Oh, yes, we are. If you're saying it at the exact same moment, first of all, we have to understand this, okay? Where are they in their mind at the moment? What logic and rationality are they using? And where do they want to go with that element? I mean, if you're writing a check to a bank, right? When you write a check, anytime you write a number, doesn't that mean ending with and is?
I'm not sure what you
mean.
Okay,
when I say ending with and is, if I ask you what time it is, you're going to tell me the time it is where you are right now. So if I tell you today, okay, is May 16th, 2025, the 2025, the 5 and the 16, the 16 is the day we are presently in. The 5 is the month that has commenced 16 days ago on the 1st. And the 2025 is what ended to begin into the 5th month of the 26th year.
Okay, wow, that's beautiful, bro. Continue.
We're in the 26th year. We're in the 5th month of the year 2026. 2025 is over. Starting at 0, 2025 is over. Done. Gone. That's why we write it down.
Right. Right. Correct.
But we don't run that way. Just like when you play Monopoly, you want to see something freaky? Check this out. It's very confusing and so simple. I say, roll the dice and get 12. Or no, I'll do something easier. Roll the dice and get 3. Where will you end up starting on go?
Second purple. I forget which one that is. Baltic or whatever the other one is.
I'm going to say, you roll the dice. I'm going to say move to the third proper. I'm going to say move to the third. No, just roll the dice, get 3. Where are you?
The one after community chest.
Here?
Yeah.
Now, what number area is that?
3.
No. Would go be the first area?
Yeah.
So that would be the 4th area.
So now let's continue this on. This area over here, okay, when you roll the dice, it's 12 away from go with the dice. Does anybody know what area it is?
That would be the 13th area.
Correct. So you remember what I mentioned about man and woman? 12 and 13? One is from off the board, one is the board.
I don't quite remember. Reiterate a little bit.
Okay. I use game theory. What is fair to you, what we don't need to go to school with, what should be shared amongst all of us, is to note that there are different sexes. Could be a bunch of them, but apparently I like to use the basic 2.
Okay.
Okay?
I hope that covers everybody down there in the comments.
Yeah, okay. So because of that, I like to use 1 for the male, 2 for the female, equals to 3. Okay? So in the Hebrews, right? In the Hebrews, they say the female has a bat mitzvah at the age of 12. They say the man has the bar mitzvah at the age of 13.
Okay.
So far, so good?
So far, so good.
Okay, so this is where 12, 1 and 2 is 3, and 1 and 3 is 4. We separated. Now, I forgot where I was with this. Oh, yes, to show you, to show you what you just said is that even though we took us 12 with the dice, it's the 13th area. So whose game are we in? Because the dice cube, this dice cube is a representation of the rotation between what is 12 and 13. Let me explain it.
I'm here. I'm on a thread with you. But I'm here. Go on.
I just want to know, did we finish the Mayan thing? Did you understand the 7 and the 13? What is connecting? Yeah. Okay, that is so interlocked to perfection. It's when 1 meets 2, when number 1 meets number 2. Okay, let me see if I can say this right. Yes, when 1 meets 2 in star system math, take the number of numbers. 1 times 2, 1 plus 2 is 3 and 2. 3 plus 2 equals to 5. Good?
Mm-hmm.
Now 1 and 3 for the 13 male. 1 times 3, 1 plus 3. Okay, 3 and 4 equals to 7. So instead of man and woman, it's now 5 and 7 or 7 and 5.
Okay, and that would be 6 and 13.
And that would be, if you bring it together, it would be
12 and 13. 12 and 13. I'm sorry.
It would be, yes, that would be 12 and 13. What it turns into is 5 and 7. Do you know it's also the same alphabet as what is saying 5G? It's connecting. 7 is the connection between the left side 5 and the right side 5. It's a connection between this side and this side. The 7th pole goes in the center and connects both sides. This pen is what connects both sides.
If
the 7 is the male connecting
13,
both sides.
So 13 would be the masculine, 12 would be the feminine?
Right. 13 be the masculine, 12 would be the feminine.
Okay. Why? All right, the number 12 is for the 13 or is it less than the 13?
They're different than each other. Okay, they're different. The when you're counting, we're going to be counting this way. If you're going to go to 13 to 12, I'll either count this way. If you're going to go to 13, I can go this way. Or if I want to go to 13, my best way to go down to 13 is to count this way. This way, 1, 2, 3 is counting two worlds overlapping each other.
Okay.
And it's counting it by halves. 1, 2, 3 is counting by halves. It should be 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, or it should be 2, 4, 6, 8. But when you get to 7, there's a connection. Oh yes, this is what I wanted to say. You woke me up to something before. Why not 14? Remember we stopped at 13. Why not 14?
Right.
Okay, that's because you've brought the two sixes together. You remember everything ends on 6? Well, by bringing 6 and 6 together by the pole in the center, that's your 13. If you go to 14, that'll add another pole. When you divide by 14, it equals to 2. 7 divided by 14 is 2. 7 divided by 7 is 1. But when I do 7 divided by 6, it's 8, 5, 7, 1, 4, 2, or something like that. So 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, and all the 7s are just connecting poles, connecting all the 6s. I'm going to show you the artwork with it.
Because you can put the pole through the dice as well, can't you?
The dice is the same thing. So here's the crazy thing that I haven't shared with you yet. Do you want to see the Mayan calendar? Check this out. The dice cube connects 1 and 6. Are we good with this? Does everybody remember? The 1, reverse 6. So what you have over here, you have Aries, you have Leo, you have a cardinal sign, you have a mutable sign. So now we connect 3 and 4. So now we have an air sign connected to what is a water sign, and you have the total of 7, which is an air sign again. They're all going to add up to an air sign. Now 2 and 5 is 7. You have an earth sign. You have another fire sign, and this one, you also have 2 fixed signs coming together, 2 and 5. So I'm just going to show you the exact replica of everything I connected is identical to the cube. Go ahead. That's step 1.
Because if you put a pole through the number 1 on the dice, that'll come through the middle of the 6, wouldn't that, making the 6 7?
So if I did that, if I joined 1 and 6, I would get this angle over here in this area space. So what is 1 and 6 is like 4 and 9. Difference of 5, difference of 5, same angle. Total 7, total 13. Do you know why I did that? Because when I connect 1 and 6, it's the same thing as connecting 9 and 4. Up there versus down here, which I didn't show you how that works yet. So I'm jumping over a step. The upper realm connecting to 4, 5, and 6. You have to be a member of the Federation. Has anybody ever played cribbage?
Yeah.
You know cribbage is 4, 5, and 6. How many points you get?
Oh God, it's been a while. 15, right?
Yeah, 15, 2 plus 4, 5, and 6, 3. So you connected a 3 and a 2, a B and a C. Just not going to talk about that right now. Number 23, right? Why do we stop at 23? Why 23 chromosomes? The alphabet and the corridor between 3 and 4 is 23 and 24. And that's why the 23 chromosome stops right there. Otherwise, you're off to the 24th. The same thing as the 23rd and 46th president, which is where we are right now. We're at the end of that long cycle.
Does that relate to the Pope opening up the doors as well?
Oh, for me,
Planets lining up, or?
For me, we are in the year, right now, we're in the year 1926.
Why would it be? Why is it 1926?
85. Actually, it's actually 1925, but it's 1925 in 1925 ending 1926, the 5th month. The end of a cycle. You remember I showed you the numbers, and is it relevant? Is it relevant whether we go to 2029 or 2027? Sure. The 7 is here, the 9 is here. This is a cardinal sign. This is a mutable sign. That's the difference. This is an air sign over here. This is a fire sign. So does it matter? Yes, because this is how our entry was through 7 into 3, or 3 into 7. Gimel into the letter C. 7 and 3 is that connecting air sign. See, the below house, right? And if I'm going to say below or above, I'm also going to use weights and measures, or I'm going to use Celsius and Fahrenheit. In order to understand myself, what's going on in this numbers, I want to use everywhere I can find these numbers. If you want to talk about Fahrenheit, we'll talk about Fahrenheit. We'll talk about the algorithm in Fahrenheit. So should it show up, what is it telling us? Right away, what it tells me is C3F6, which is perfect because the base of all creation is 1 comes between 2, creating 3. The face of creation runs a corridor into 4. Stop right there. So therefore, if these do this, although these numbers don't tell the same story, right, it's still 4 area spaces. So I'm going to just jump back for a second and show you this piece. Oh, do you want to update this where we were? Because I jumped off with the Mayan thing with the number 91. I was somewhere else, and all of a sudden I'm somewhere else. It's just, there's just too much. There's just so much. I don't even know where to go. Ask me a question, put me back in my place so I can start all over again. Thank you.
So where's the, so the lower house and the upper house? That's the lower house is 1 through 5.
And the upper house is 5 through 9.
Yeah.
Did you know that the number 8 is one of the only numbers that when you add TH to it or TEN, you don't have to? It doesn't tell the same stories as the other numbers. You do not add TH to 1. You do, okay, until it becomes the 11th. You do not add TH to 2 until it becomes the 12th. You do not add the TH to 13. Sorry, to 3 until it becomes the 13th. But when it comes to 4, okay, it becomes 4th all the way to the 20th number, where it becomes IETH. It's I before E except after C in creation. And therefore, it becomes C with 19 in that reflection. So what happens? There are 17 numbers that fall under the abbreviation of TH. Number 8 is the only word number that ends with a T. Therefore, when we go to 8th, I only have to add on the H8 and not the T20 to it. Right? What is the T20? What does anybody think it can be? I have my own understanding of what is T20. It's the sun and the ocean. It's the E-World Energy Connect. It's the E5 and it's the T20, which is 4 times 5 equaling to 20. When you create a crossing star through this number, connecting the upper range with the lower range. You remember we did this before? 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 equals to 10. 6, 7, 8, 9 equals to 30. Therefore, the lower house will equal to 10. The upper house will equal to 30. A, B, C, D versus F, G, H, I. or ABC, what is GHI, okay, what is 624, four numbers and four numbers, the fifth number joins the house. FGHI equals to 30. ABCD equals to 10. This connection to the house will be 1/3. The connector will be 5. When I'm connecting A through I must pass through the E. When I do all my connections within the house, I always pass through the E. Every time you pass through it, it's E5. It becomes E5 and 5. It becomes E5, 5, and 5. It becomes E5, 5, and 5, 5. Right? All these connections will equal to what is E, what is J, what is O, what is T, what is Y. And this is where the J letter intercepts the Y letter in Yehovah over Jehovah, as the J was actually a carrier, okay, when coming through the gateway. It's the first part of the star. You need two connecting lines in order to run through. So that's where the E stems from. And then when NASA calls out T-minus counting, right? NASA calls out T-minus counting. The other thing about the T is the T. NASA calls out T-minus counting. NASA calls out T-minus. Check what they're showing on the screen. Good Lord, lagging. Hey, does anybody hear me? Wow. So this is all the children in the room, 18 and over only. This is game mode for anybody that can hear me. We are in game mode, and I don't know who can hear who, but I'm going to... Oh, you broke it. I broke the game. Oh no, Sally, come out of hiding, Sally. So we have a video interruption over here.
For you to just